Joe can paint a house in 3 hours, and Sam can paint the same house in 5 hours, how long does it take for them to do it together?
Wait a minute. You never said this was a word problem. Scales, get over here.
What's up, man?
If I can paint a house in 3 hours, and you can paint it in 5, how long will it take us to paint it together? Lonnie! Takes me 3 hours to paint a house, it takes you 5. How long to do it together? What color paint?
It's simple. 5 times 3.
So that's 15. No. Look it. Takes 8 hours. 5 plus 3. That's 8.
Oh, man, that's not right. Check it out. There's 1, 2 of them, so it only takes 4 hours. I should know this. My uncle's a painter.
Why don't they just get a house that's already painted?
You know, maybe there is no answer. Maybe it's one of those trick questions. You ever think of that? I don't know. I mean, 8 sounds good to me.
Oh, but there's 2 of them. Come on, there's 2 of them.
Fellas. The chalk, if you please. Thank you.
Using the simple formula A times B over A plus B, we arrive at our answer of 1 7/8.
Oh, are you sure?
Oh, but of course, my diminutive leader. Long have I been familiar with the exactitudes of the mathematical world. And Mac, the horse's name is Friday.
I have been desperately seeking a podcast that covers the sports movies that I love. You know,
Some people like the sound of their own voice, you know.
That is one of the maybe 5 movies ever that even to this day, when I watch it, makes me tear up. Tugs at my feels.
What am I getting myself into here?
Exactly. I'm going to make a serious argument that Little Big League belongs in the discussion for top 3 baseball movies of all time.
So you're going to make me watch it again.
Yes.
Did you say the title of the show?
I made Alicia watch a sports movie. Welcome back to I Made Alicia Watch a Sports Movie, everybody's favorite sports movie podcast.
That's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's.
Mm-hmm. Since there's only like none of them actually currently going except for this one, so
Okay.
It must be everybody's favorite because there aren't any other ones.
Yes.
There aren't any other strictly sports movie ones out there anymore, so
Yeah.
it's just us
Just us.
holding it down.
I think we'll manage.
Probably. All right, Alicia.
Yes.
What did I make you watch this week?
Little Big League.
Little Big League from 1994.
Yes.
This is a movie
Of course it is.
that I love
Okay.
and also hate
Yeah.
at the same time
You hate. That's news to me.
for various reasons.
Okay.
The only reason I hate it is because this movie was able to be made because of the 1993 MLB work stoppage.
Okay. Here we go.
So, in 1993,
Yes.
before the work stoppage happened,
Okay.
the 2 best teams in the league were the New York Yankees in the American League and the Montreal Expos in the National League.
Okay.
Now, because of the work stoppage, postseason never happened. There was no World Series, none of that in 1993, which is why so many actual Major League players appear in this movie.
Because they needed work to do.
They just had nothing better to do, so they decided, sure, why not? Now, in 1993, the Yankees had a very good chance of winning the World Series,
Okay.
which they had not done for quite some time at that point.
Since what year?
Oh, it was, God.
Oh, you don't know that off the top
Not
of your
off the top of
head?
my head, I don't know. It was, That was probably pushing 20 years, almost.
Okay.
But anyway, there was a first baseman for the New York Yankees. Went by the name of Don Mattingly. Called him Donnie Baseball.
Okay.
Donnie Baseball, as we speak, should be in the Hall of Fame. However, most likely never will be in the Hall of Fame.
Because?
Because he's missing one thing from his resume.
What's that?
World Series championship.
Which should have been that year.
Should have been that year.
Okay.
Should have won it that year, 93.
But he didn't because there was a strike.
Didn't because there was a strike. He had one final chance in his final season in 1995.
Okay.
Yankees made it to the playoffs and lost in a heartbreakingly similar fashion to the same team that the Minnesota Twins lose to in this movie.
Oh, really?
The Seattle Mariners, including one Randy Johnson and one the kid Ken Griffey Jr.
Okay.
Forever denying Donnie Baseball his world championship and his entrance into Cooperstown and baseball immortality.
Okay, that sucks.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking.
I'm sure he felt the same way, or if not worse.
I'm sure he does. He still manages in the majors.
Oh, good for him.
So, who knows? Maybe he'll make it as a manager one day. But, never know.
Right.
But if he does, then it won't be as a Yankee, which is truly horrifying.
Right.
Yeah. And there's also more bad news about baseball this year. Derek Jeter being inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Not going to be having no Hall of Fame induction ceremony in Cooperstown this July.
No.
No.
And we were going to go to that.
Oh, hell yeah. It's Derek Jeter getting into the Hall of Fame. I was a little upset we didn't get to go to see Rivera last year.
Right.
So now we're going to have like 20 people getting in next year.
Yeah.
Which is going to make it even more insane to even try to get anywhere near there.
Yes.
Even though we're near there anyway, but not near enough.
Right.
So yeah, so this movie is heartbreaking for me at the same time. I think it's a great movie.
Right.
Personally, I love this movie.
But it wouldn't have happened if this hadn't happened.
Right.
Kind of thing.
Right. So, also, I love this movie because this little kid is a year younger than me.
Yes.
So, like, this was my childhood at the same time. I wish at the same time I could own a baseball team. That'd be amazing. How cool would that be?
Okay, just think of you yourself as how you were then.
Oh, I understand that. But that doesn't matter that you wouldn't think that'd be fucking amazing to own a baseball team. How cool would that be? Besides, how hard could it be? They have the DH.
What's that?
That's the designated hitter.
Okay.
So in the National League, pitchers hit.
Okay.
They bat in the 9 spot usually.
Okay.
In the American League, pitchers don't hit. They are replaced by what is known as the designated hitter.
That are only there to swing.
They don't play a defensive position that game. They just bat in the pitcher spot, usually number 4.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
So it takes a lot of strategy out, a lot of bunting and pinch running and small ball things towards the end of games.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of that out of the manager's hands and makes it much easier to manage because there's the DH. You just put a big bat in there
Okay.
who just hits lots of home runs. A la Giancarlo Stanton for the Yankees.
Okay.
So,
And that's all he's there for.
yeah, he doesn't play defense.
Okay.
He just bats for the pitcher.
Must be an easy game if all you gotta do is swing the bat.
Hardest thing in the world
I
to do is
guess.
hit a baseball.
Is it? I thought it was thread a camel through an eye of a needle.
No, that's what Jesus says is easier than a rich man getting into heaven.
Oh, is it?
Yes. Hardest thing in the world is to hit a baseball. You got a ball this size
Yes.
coming at you from 90 feet away.
Yes.
Well, 60 and change. At 100 miles an hour.
Okay.
You literally have that long to decide whether you're swinging or not. That long.
Okay.
That's it.
And that's the hardest thing to do in the world.
Can you think of anything harder?
Currently, no, I'm not in the state to think that hard.
Yes. Hardest thing to do in the world, hit a baseball. Very difficult.
Okay.
And I've never batted against somebody who throws at 100. I batted against somebody who throws at 70. That's hard enough.
Okay.
100? That's insane.
Right.
I couldn't imagine ever trying to hit off of like Mariano Rivera.
Yeah.
I'd probably just go sit down and cry and just be like, I'm not even going to try. Just call it 3 strikes. I'm going to sit down and cry.
If you cry, I want to be there to see it.
I told you, you'll see me cry when we watch Rudy.
Okay.
When we get to Rudy, I will cry.
Okay.
Because that movie always makes you tear up.
Okay.
Because it's Rudy. People out there understand. It's
Okay.
Rudy. All right. Well, anyway, we need to get into this movie.
Yes.
First of all, I need your ranking.
Okay.
Out of 5 montages, of which this movie had many montages.
I'm going to go with 4.5.
Wow! Really?
I've actually seen this movie multiple times, and
At this point, yeah.
and I do enjoy this. It's funny.
4.5 montages. This may be the first time ever in the history of this podcast where you have given a movie a higher rating than me.
Well, this podcast doesn't have a very long history.
It may be the only time in quite some time where you give a movie a higher rating than me. Although we do have a couple of your-style movies coming up.
Yes, we do.
We got Space Jam, we got Bring It On coming up in the near future. We got Cool Runnings. So maybe there will be more where you give it a higher rating. But I give it a 4.
Okay.
Because as much as I love this baseball movie, there are baseball movies coming that I like.
A lot more.
Yeah, like by orders of magnitude more.
Orders of magnitude. Okay.
Bull Durham, Field of Dreams, For Love of the Game.
Okay.
Major League.
Okay.
Yeah, so there are far superior baseball movies coming to this one.
Okay.
I still think that this is a top 5 baseball movie, in my opinion. So, all right, so that gives it an average of 4.25 stars. Not bad.
No.
Not bad for Little Big League, because this movie is so often forgotten when people talk about baseball movies and good baseball movies.
Okay.
It's like always left off the list, which I don't get. Like I showed you Rookie of the Year as well. That's the one with the kid who can throw super fast.
Yeah.
Most people put that movie ahead of this one.
Really?
Yeah. What do you think?
No.
No. I agree with you.
I don't think that movie's as fun as this movie.
Not
is.
nearly as fun. Not nearly as fun as this movie. So, I would agree with you on that. And I definitely do not put this movie ahead of it.
No.
Annoying fucking phones. Do I need 75,000 notifications? Apparently. Okay, so let's start talking about the people involved in this movie.
Okay.
All right, director Andrew Scheinerman. I don't think he's going to be making another appearance on our podcast.
Recognize it.
Yeah, no, I mean he's a decently known big name if you know movies
From that time.
From that time frame. If you know movies and know them well,
Okay.
you'll have heard his name cross your TV screen several times. Nothing epic. I don't think he's going to be doing anything else on this podcast.
Okay.
Just like most of the actors in this movie are not going to be doing anything else on the podcast. There is two actors who will be back
Grandpa.
on our show. No, it's we'll get to them. It's Lou Collins and the GM Arthur.
Okay.
They will be back on the show.
Yeah, I know the general manager.
So, but you don't know what other movie he's in.
No.
That's going to be on our show. But all right. So speaking of actors, we got past the director. Let's get into the actors.
Okay.
The star of the movie is Luke Edwards as Billy Haywood.
Yep.
What do you think of young Billy?
He's a good kid.
For child actor.
Yeah. He's I just kept watching and saying that kid's got a better vocabulary than I did at 16. But, he didn't write the script.
Right, it was written by middle-aged men like
Yeah.
Gregory Pincus and Gregory Pincus.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And Greg. Okay.
Well, credit for the story, credit for the screenplay.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, so middle-aged men.
Yeah, of course they were middle-aged men. Because, they wrote dirty things about little girls.
Yeah. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
One of those overlooked things when you think about
Movies.
teenage girls in movies.
Yeah.
Even if they're of age.
Yeah.
So, Bring It On. This is a bunch of middle-aged men writing dirty scenes for 18-year-old girls to do.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. Mm-hmm. All right, next up, my man, your man, everybody's man, Timothy Busfield as Lou Collins.
Yep.
The star of the team, all-star Lou Collins. What'd you think of Mr. Busfield?
Lou Collins is one of my 2 favorites.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Who's your other? Let me guess. Gotta be Bowers.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotta be Bowers. Absolutely. So Timothy Busfield will be back on our podcast.
Okay.
He plays the brother of Kevin Costner's wife.
In Field of Dreams.
In Field of Dreams. Yes, he
remembered.
does.
I was
yes, he does.
I know that face. He plays in another baseball movie.
Yes. And he looks surprisingly like Owen Hunt from
Grey's Anatomy. Yes, he does.
He could be a cousin. They look that close.
Yeah.
Not brother close, but definitely cousin close.
Yes. Very similar facial structure.
Yes, the red hair and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Let's see. Who is next?
Who plays Mom?
Well, we'll get to Mom.
Oh, okay.
Yep. She's next after this one.
Okay.
So next is John Astin as Mac. That's the pitching coach.
The yelling one?
Nope. No, the one who stays and is like Billy's mentor.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, what do you think of him? He do a good job?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did a good job.
Yeah, he did.
I don't think he's going to be in anything that we're going to see again. So, it was nice to have him, but he's done and gone. All right. Next up is Ashley Caro as Mom.
Mom did good.
Mom did good. Yes, she definitely had 90s hair.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yep. The hair.
And the clothes.
The clothes, the black stockings that nobody ever wears anymore unless it's Halloween. You know.
Yeah, it was the 90s.
Yes.
Also, Lou's love interest.
Yep. And the mother of
Billy Haywood. Yes. All right. Next actor who will be appearing on the show again. Kevin Dunn as the GM, Arthur.
Yes.
So if you remember correctly, in Rookie of the Year, the GM was the bad guy. Or one of the two bad guys.
Yes.
In this one, the GM's a good guy. Even though they're like vaguely similar. Mm-hmm. Different people play them, but they're completely opposite. This guy's a really good guy. Like, totally on Billy's side.
Yeah.
100%. So we'll see him again in Draft Day.
Okay.
Which is another Kevin Costner movie.
What sport is that?
Football.
I should have known. You said draft.
Well, all major sports have a draft.
Oh, that's true.
So, but yes, no, it's Draft Day's football movie.
Okay. Well, I assumed it was football because that was the first thing that popped in my head. And normally when I think of the other sports, I think of trading.
Yep.
So.
Right. Well, football has trades too.
Right, but it's just the way my mind.
I know.
At that point.
I gotcha.
Okay.
Next up, Jonathan Silverman as everybody's favorite relief pitcher, Mr. Bowers.
Yeah.
So, people out there will know Jonathan Silverman. He's a funny man.
Yep.
Weekend at Bernie's 2. Classic. He will also be making a return to our podcast.
He's a stoner character in this one, isn't he? Bowers?
Oh,
You don't see it, but...
Bowers was a stoner in college. There's no doubt about it.
Okay.
No doubt about it.
He seems very much like a secret stoner because he
Yeah.
doesn't actually do it in the movie.
Yeah. No, he was definitely a stoner in college. There's no doubt about that. Absolutely. Back before they did drug testing for athletes.
Yeah.
But he'll be back in our coverage of Caddyshack 2.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
He'll be back in Caddyshack 2, which is one of my faves. So, looking forward to that.
All right.
Next up is your favorite coach, Dennis Farina as O'Farrell.
The yelling guy?
The yelly guy, yeah.
Yeah, ass.
Now, he will not be making another appearance on the podcast. However, a lot of people out there will know him from Get Shorty.
Okay.
You, however, Alicia, will know him from somewhere else. Have you figured it out yet?
I have not.
What if I gave you a hint that he is Detective Fontana?
Detective Fontana.
Yep.
You're going to have to tell it to me.
Law and Order.
Oh my god!
Oh my god, he is! Yes!
Okay. I had to think. Because I saw him in the suit.
Yep.
In my head.
Yep, the gray suit.
Yep. And I was like, why do I see a cigar in his...
Yep.
Okay.
Detective Fontana.
Okay. I get it now. Yep. I thought I recognized him.
All right. And last but not least, as Grandpa, Jason Robards.
Yes. He's good.
Did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
He's been in a trillion things ever since like the 1740s. So.
Oh, come on.
But no, he's been in a million things, including some really incredible. Like he's one of the top actors you could have gotten to play this role, especially for as short as he was in the movie.
Yeah.
So he did a fantastic job, of course, as always, rounding out the cast. All right, so that is everybody.
Yep.
That we really need to talk about. Not too much in the way of themes in this movie. It's a lot more lighthearted than our last movie.
Yes, it is. Definitely.
Not too much in the way of social commentary and themes. It's just kind of like a let's sit down and feel good and have some fun movie.
Yes.
It's one of those. Not too much thinking involved. Maybe a little bit if you're like the kid's age and you're raised by a single mom and you like baseball. There's some things you can think about there. and,
Yeah.
wish I owned a baseball team or something like that, because that'd be cool.
Right.
So you own the team and the stadium? Yes. Can I borrow $5? I don't have no money.
Yeah, that was cute.
That was pretty funny.
The money doesn't go into my account.
Yeah. Well, technically, a lot of it does.
Well, he's a minor, so it probably goes into a trust or whatever.
I'm assuming so, yeah. I assume his entire salary that he paid himself did.
But can you imagine doing all that work and not actually seeing any financial, it's there, but you can't, use it, so it feels like you're working for free.
Right.
That's just...
That's how the owner feels a lot of times.
Yeah.
A lot of times.
That's how I feel a lot of times.
So everybody feels a lot of times these days. Yeah. All right. So, as you said, Little Big League, 1994.
Yeah. I thought you said 1993.
It was made in 93, released in 94. It was shot in 93 because there was the work stoppage in 93,
It came out in 94.
which allowed all the players to appear.
Okay.
And there's a laundry list of players, real Major League Baseball players from back in the day that appear in this movie.
Yes.
I was trying to count as I was going through watching the movie. And there's everybody from Ken Griffey Jr. to, what's his name? Edgar Martinez to, Randy Johnson to Wally Joyner to Mickey Tettleton.
Who's the kid?
Ken Griffey Jr. is the kid.
Okay.
He's the kid because he was young and his dad, Ken Griffey Sr., played in the major leagues as well.
Oh, okay.
And in fact, there was some time when they actually played crossover years.
Okay. So they called him the kid.
They called him the kid. Yep, absolutely.
Tell them apart.
Yep.
Gotta.
Let's see, God, who else was in this thing? Sandy Alomar Jr., Pudge Rodriguez, David Cohn, everybody.
One from every team.
Lots of players. Paul O'Neill, Yankee star Paul O'Neill, number 21. Before we dive into this, I freaked Alicia out while we were watching this movie as I started rattling off old Yankees players by their numbers.
Yeah.
And she almost had a heart attack.
The question was, it was at a home game. Mm-hmm. And the players on this team didn't have their names on their back. And I asked Matt why the team didn't have their names on their jerseys.
And some teams don't.
And he said it's because for home games.
Yep. A lot of times for home games.
Yeah.
Away jerseys usually because you're in a different city.
Right.
Home games you don't because the fans in the stadium almost always are going to be a fan of your team and therefore will know you by your number.
Right.
And she's like, really? And to prove a point, I started rattling off mid to late 90s Yankees by their numbers.
I think you got through 10 or 11 before I said, if you don't shut up, I'm going to smack you.
We got through a bunch.
Because who keeps this stuff in their brain? This is not necessary knowledge.
We got through a bunch. We got through Paul O'Neill and Derek Jeter.
Derek Jeter's a given.
Tino Martinez, Bernie Williams.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got through a whole bunch. Jorge Posada, Joe Girardi.
Are you going to go through right now and name names? And
Mariano
numbers?
Rivera.
Stop.
John Wetland.
I will walk out this door.
All right. Well, we've been at it for about a half an hour.
Yep.
Let's shut this down real quick, take a break.
Okay.
Come back up and dive right into all of the exciting baseball action that was Little Big League.
Okay.
All right. So we kick off the movie at a Little League game.
Yes.
Billy's Little League game.
Yep.
Billy and his buddies, Chuck and the other kid. Sorry, I refer to them because I don't remember the other kid's
I
name.
don't remember the other kid's name either.
So we have Little League game. For some reason, the two coaches, one looks like Discount the King of Queens, and the other one looks like a discount middle-aged Jon Snow.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
And then we have an umpire who indeed looks like a penis in his little suit.
That's so mean, but yes.
And there's a controversy.
Yeah.
What happens on the next to last play of the game?
So basically what it is 3 players end up on
The same base.
On the same base.
Yes. And so you have Discount King of Queens yelling that they're all out, and Discount Jon Snow yelling that they're all safe.
Yes.
The umpire, for some reason, has no idea about the basic rules of baseball.
So he asks a kid a
12-year-old kid
on the home team, which happens to be Billy Haywood.
what the actual answer is.
And this kid like Matt, knows all kinds of random baseball.
Yeah. Okay. And also, by the way, I umped some Little League games when I was in high school.
Yeah.
Because that's just, I mean, it was what you did. And all of us who did knew who was out and who was safe in that situation. So the fact that this umpire had no idea.
And he was middle-aged.
And he was like an actual adult who got like a real uniform to umpire, which we never did. I'm going to call bullshit on him not knowing the actual answer to this problem because it's very easy.
Yeah, I think this scene was used just to show Billy's knowledge of baseball.
Correct. Absolutely 100%. Because Billy correctly deduces that the base goes to the lead runner and the other two are out.
Based on something happening in a game in
19 something or other.
I think it was 28 or something.
Right. Or just standard rule of baseball.
Yeah.
The base always goes to the lead runner.
Right.
So, no, there shouldn't be a need for any big information reveal here, but
yeah,
the base just goes to the lead runner. That's pretty standard. But anyway, Billy tells him who it is. Grandpa's proud because Billy knows Billy's telling him the base goes to the lead runner. Grandpa's super happy because Billy knows his shit.
Yeah.
Lots of useless baseball facts, as I've been accused of having in my head.
You do have in your head a lot of useless facts.
So that leaves a runner on third.
Yep.
2 outs. Billy up, bottom of the ninth.
Yes.
So
and Billy can't play for shit.
yeah. So okay, Billy is the kid who can't hit but knows everything about baseball.
Yeah.
So he's the nerdy baseball player.
Yeah.
Right. He doesn't. He's not really good.
Yeah.
But he knows baseball.
And he loves baseball.
Loves
even if he's
baseball.
not good at it.
Right. Exactly. So Billy gets up. His friends Chuck and the other kid are hit a home run, Billy. Take it downtown.
And then the other one's like, you know he can't hit a ball.
He's like, you're right. Just close your eyes and just hit it. Just make contact with it. And he does.
He closes his eyes and bunts the ball.
Does make contact, but he grounds out to second to end the game.
Grounds out is the same as bunting?
No.
No.
No. So grounding out is a full swing.
Okay.
Bunting is where you go like this.
And
you just
tap
touch the ball. Just tappy tappy. Yes. Yep, that's a bunt. So he doesn't bunt it. He swings and he hits it, but it's a ground ball to second and he gets thrown out.
Okay.
So game over. Okay. They're all bumped. Of course.
Yeah,
you always get bummed when you lose a Little League game. Absolutely. Yeah. But it also ended like all great Little League games do. Whether you win or lose. Ice cream. 100%. Always ice cream after Little League games.
And it's in this scene where we're informed that Billy's grandpa is the richest man in town.
Yeah.
Because he owns the Twins.
Yes, the Minnesota Twins.
And the stadium.
Yep. Now, I don't think he's the richest man in town. Definitely very rich. Very, very rich.
Well, these are the kids.
Right.
So.
But, like, Prince lives in this town.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, Prince is from there.
Okay.
From Minneapolis.
Okay.
Prince has a lot of money.
Would not have known that.
Right. And this is where we get the first of the kids talking about things that I don't think kids talk about, but I think middle-aged men apparently think kids talk about.
Yeah.
Because I have to tell you that I was a kid at this age.
Yeah, you were like these kids' age.
Literally these kids' age at this exact time.
Yes.
There is no way in my head I would ever have asked any of my teammates or my friends, hey, do you think so-and-so is richer than A, Jed Clampett, or B, Thurston Howell III? Now, I watched Gilligan's Island, but at 12 years old, if I wasn't watching Gilligan's Island, I would have been hard-pressed to figure out who the fuck Thurston Howell III was.
Now, who is Thurston Howell?
He's the rich guy on Gilligan's Island.
Or no, who's the other guy?
Oh, Jed Clampett from the Beverly Hillbillies.
Okay, the oil money.
Right, which also I would have been hard-pressed to figure out who Jed Clampett was at that age at this time, even though I had seen the Beverly Hillbillies.
Right. I know of it. I've never seen it.
Right. I've seen the movie.
Yeah.
Which was okay, but I never watched more than like the intro to the original show.
I've seen the introduction. I couldn't tell you any episodes. And it was black and white, right?
Black and white. I know the song. Everybody knows the song.
Right. I probably would know the song if you played it, and I can't remember the last time I watched it.
Right. But I've been like, The fuck you talking
Well,
about?
Gilligan's Island, I know that one.
Oh, everybody knows Gilligan's Island. Gilligan's Island's a fucking classic. So is Beverly Hillbillies, but it's a generation too early.
Right, yes.
Like, Gilligan's Island I get, right? Because that was still on in syndication when I was a kid.
Right.
And Beverly Hillbillies was going out of syndication at that point.
Right. So like, at that point, shows like I Love Lucy and what's the other show? I don't know. It's something about the two small town cops. I can't remember what it is, what it's called. But
the Andy Dick show?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Or not Andy Dick.
But yes, I know what you're talking
Andy
about.
Griffin.
Yeah.
Andy Dick.
I know what you were talking
That little
about.
blonde weasel boy. Jesus. I do love Andy Dick. He's hilarious.
Who's
but
Andy Dick?
he's that little, like, scrawny, blonde-haired comedian guy.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about? Like, look real, like, small guy. Yeah. That's Andy Dick.
Andy Griffith's show.
Yeah, the Andy Griffith Show. Which, by the way, we've seen Andy Griffith's house from across the bay.
Yes, we have.
Down in the Outer Banks.
Yep.
So, that's kind of cool. But
Yeah. So those were the kinds of shows those kids had on.
right. Well, these are the so these are the shows that at this age, these are the shows that I would have been watching.
Right.
I would have been watching Family Matters.
Yep.
I would have been watching Perfect Strangers.
Okay.
I would have been watching Step by Step.
Okay.
I would have been watching Full House, obviously.
Right.
And then some other mixed ones, but those are like your Friday night shows.
Yeah, I know.
Home Improvement.
Yeah. I know that one.
Yeah, but like once in a while I would catch a Gilligan's Island.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was way more interested in like Mr. Bean. Because Rowan Atkinson is fucking amazing.
Mr. Bean.
Mr. Bean is phenomenal.
Oh, man.
But yeah, so like while yes, the jokes are funny, they're not jokes that kids this age are going to be telling.
Right, yeah.
Like there's no way you're wondering if his grandpa's as rich as Jed Clampett.
Yeah.
Like you would have a different like you're like, is your grandpa as rich as Prince?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Or like as like Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Like that's who you'd be thinking of. Or Chevy Chase.
Right.
As a kid, right? Because Saturday Night Live and Caddyshack and shit like that.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, Grandpa's response to being asked if he is as rich as Jed Clampett is hilarious.
Piss on Jed Clampett.
Yes, which is funny as fuck. And that gets a scorn from Mom.
Yeah. She's like, Grandpa!
Yeah, pretty much. And then he has some sound advice for the kids.
Yes.
About ice cream.
Yep. Enjoy it all now while you can, because once you hit 30, it's all gone.
Yeah. Eat as many of these as you can until you're 30.
Yes. Thanks for that advice, Grandpa. I just turned 30 last
Yep.
week.
'Cause after that, you can't eat anything that tastes good.
Oh.
Unless you want to.
But that's true, though.
Unless you want to die, yeah.
It's absolutely true, though.
Uh-huh. Yep. Sucks. Mm-hmm. Getting old sucks.
Yeah. Like,
Oh, please. You just hit 30.
I
Shut
did.
up.
I absolutely did.
Shut up. From somebody who'll be 40 next year, shut up.
Your life choices are your life choices.
Yeah. All right. So, yeah, I've got note. Billy can't hit for shit. Ice cream. I piss on Jed Clampett and middle-aged man jokes.
Yeah.
Which is what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
We cut right from that to, I'm assuming, that night's Twins game,
Yes.
which is versus the Royals at home.
Okay.
So that is
So Billy and Grandpa are up in the
owner's box.
owner's box where the manager is serving them food.
Well, the GM.
Yes.
So the manager is O'Farrell. The head coach of a baseball team is actually called the manager.
Okay.
And then the GM is the general manager.
Right.
And that's Arthur. He's the general manager of the organization.
Right.
So yes, so he is he's got their food for them.
Yep.
Because I mean he likes Billy.
Yeah, he
You know.
does.
And
The
you
whole
see-
team likes Billy. 'cause
Everybody
the whole
loves
team
Billy.
knows him.
Right. Everybody loves Billy when Billy's just a kid that comes to visit them in the clubhouse after a game
Yeah.
or after practice.
Yeah.
It gets a little different when Billy has a different job when he comes to visit them.
Right.
But for right now, everybody loves Billy.
Yes.
And some people even love Billy's mom.
Only some people.
Yep. Well, I think they all like Billy's mom.
Yeah.
One really loves
One
Billy's mom.
really likes his mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here we get a couple of real Royals.
Yeah.
Mentioned we get Wally Joyner, who's the first baseman.
Yep.
And then we get mention of the pitcher for the night, David Cone,
Okay.
who went on to become a Yankee and threw a perfect game for them in 1999. So, bleh.
More useless information.
Useful information. David Cone is now one of the leading commentators for the Yankees on the Yes Network and a possible replacement for the lady who got fired from Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN when and if baseball comes back.
When did she get fired?
This past offseason.
And why?
Because she told players to shut up when they were talking about, when they were coming forward about the Astros cheating scandal. She told them to shut up and don't flame on players and get them in trouble.
Ooh.
So she got fired for that.
Yeah, that's not part of your job description.
No, it's not. Protecting cheaters is not part of the job.
No.
That's if you work for the media and you're covering politicians.
Right.
That's when you do that, not in sports.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we get some real Royals in there, which is great. Number one takeaway from the game here is O'Farrell's douche.
Yeah.
Like a real just douchebag. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, I'm waiting for him to, like, throw a full-on temper tantrum in the dugout here.
Yeah, there's some people listening to this will know I'm at any moment here ready for O'Farrell to go full Bobby Knight. And they'll know who and what I'm talking about.
Good, because I don't.
When I say go full Bobby Knight. They'll know what I mean.
Yeah, because I have no idea what you mean.
Yeah. Bobby Knight is a Indiana Hoosiers basketball coach, legendary coach. One of the most winningest coaches in the history of the NCAA basketball program.
Okay.
Who supposedly told a reporter one time he had a poem for them when they were asking him tough questions after a loss. And he said something to the effect of, when my days on earth are through and my time is all gone, I hope they bury me upside down. Or no, when my days on earth are through and all my time is past, I hope they bury me upside down so you all can kiss my ass.
That's funny.
This is a guy who's kicked basketballs from the floor up into the crowd because he was pissed. This is a guy who's thrown chairs from the bench out into the middle of the court.
Oh, Jesus.
He got very, very into his coaching.
Yeah, I'll say.
But he's also one of the winningest coaches in the history of basketball. So you can't argue with his success.
Right, but him throwing furniture is...
Sometimes you gotta make a point with an exclamation point.
Okay.
But team loses.
Yes.
A heartbreaker. It's close.
Yep, they're not doing that great this year.
Not having a great year. And
Grandpa says they're missing something, but he's not sure what.
And he hopes that O'Farrell is that spark.
Yeah.
That's why I brought him, because he's a good baseball man.
Yeah.
Which is how a lot of teams used to justify bringing back assholes like Billy Martin and coaches like that.
Yeah.
By saying, oh, he's a good baseball man.
Yeah.
Like Billy Martin, who had like 4 different stints as Yankees manager.
Yeah.
And kept getting fired and rehired.
Yeah.
Let's see. So after the game, we get O'Farrell lambasting everybody in the clubhouse.
Yeah.
Especially the pitching coach.
Yeah.
Who says he's going to go take a walk. And O'Farrell tells him, that's great. Maybe you'll find a uniform that fucking fits you, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. He is wearing a uniform that's a bit too tight right here.
Well, that's baseball.
Yeah.
That baseball uniforms are tight.
They're not supposed to be. You have to be able to run and move in these things.
Not the manager, the coach.
Oh, that's true.
And baseball uniforms used to be tighter than they are today. A lot of players wear them baggier now. They didn't used to.
Oh, really?
Yeah. A lot of players wear them baggier now than they used to.
Okay.
So back then, and this is for people who remember back in the day, this is set about 4 years after the last time the Twins won the World Series with Mr. Kirby Puckett leading the team.
I think that name's mentioned here.
No, the name is not mentioned, but I told you there's a player who looks like he's a discount Kirby Puckett.
Yes.
Supposed to be like a Kirby Puckett looking guy.
Yep.
Because he looks very much like and anybody who's seen the movie will know the guy I'm talking about. As soon as you see him in the dugout, you're going to be like, oh, that's the guy supposed to look like Kirby Puckett. Because he looks exactly like if you were holding like open auditions at like outside of a Hooters, this is the guy who you might find who looks like Kirby Puckett.
Okay. All right. Sure.
Let's see. Highlights of being down in here in the dugout after the game. Lou wants to know about Billy's mom.
Yeah. How's your mom doing, Billy?
Yep. How's your mom?
Tell her I said hi.
How's your mom and that sweet ass and sweet hair of hers? So, and then Jerry comes up and Billy tells him how much he sucks at hitting. and he's a total spaz, which is funny. Billy's like, that's all right. Jerry's like, it's okay, we'll work on it. And that's going to be heartbreaking later on.
Yes, it
Fucking,
is.
writers ripping my heart out. Let's see. After that, we get Grandpa and Billy headed home.
Yep. They're walking home.
Yep. And they're in a... Well, I don't think they walk home. I think we see them walking out of the stadium.
Right.
And then we see them walking up the steps to Billy's house.
Okay.
I'm assuming that they drove or had a driver in between there. Because the stadium's like downtown and they're out in the suburbs.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So I don't think they walked all the way there.
Okay.
Because Grandpa's like 110 years old.
Right.
But he tells Billy he's in a bad mood, which means it's baseball trivia time.
Yes.
And so he proceeds to go on...
Random.
Well, so he goes on this... He gives Billy a question. He gives him a situation from history.
Yes.
About the 1927 World Series, final game, final play.
Yeah.
And Billy's like, I know this is easy, blah, 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 flew out to end the game in the World Series.
Right.
And his grandpa goes, yes, indeed. But who was on deck who didn't get to bat? And the answer is an incredibly famous baseball player. Do you remember who it was?
No. Of course not.
Oh!
You don't remember who it was.
I'm trying to remember his name now, because now that I'm supposed to remember his name, I can't remember his name. Willie Mays.
Okay.
Willie Mays. Yes. Willie Mays.
Yep. And then Billy asks his grandpa who the first black baseball player was.
Yes. And Grandpa says, you would like me to say...
Babe Ruth?
No. Babe Ruth was white.
I have no idea.
So you'd like me to say who almost everybody considers the first black player, which would be Jackie Robinson.
Jackie Robinson, that's you.
For the Dodgers, for the Brooklyn Dodgers.
But he was not.
No, there was a guy who played a few games before that, back in the late 1800s.
Yep.
In Toledo.
Yes.
And that's the correct answer.
Yeah.
And that earns a remark from Billy, you are in a bad mood.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. So they get home. Billy's off to bed.
Yep.
First of all, so then Grandpa takes a few minutes to speak to Mom.
Yep. And tells Mom.
Gets really inappropriate here because he's her stepdad. No, not her stepdad.
In-law.
Her father-in-law.
Yeah.
She was married to his son, and his son died.
Yes.
Several years before.
Yes.
And he says, Billy says, hey, Ma, Lou says hi, and then runs off to go to bed.
Yep.
And the grandpa goes, sweet guy, that Lou. Good looking, too. I bet you could think of some things for him to do around the house.
Yeah.
And then gives her like a wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah.
Oh, Grandpa.
Yeah. So her eyes kind of go white at that.
Yeah.
The first time I saw that scene, I didn't think anything of it.
You're like, oh, yeah, I like paint the house.
Yeah.
And you're like, hold on.
Yep. Yep. And then the next time I saw it, I went, wait a minute.
Yeah.
That's like a sexual innuendo.
That is,
comment.
yes, that is a double entendre.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then he also has a request if Billy can go to Wednesday night's game.
Tuesday nights.
Wednesday.
I thought it was Tuesday.
No, it's Wednesday. I got Wednesday written down.
Okay, well, I thought it was Tuesday.
Okay. Well, it doesn't matter.
Either way,
it's a school night. Right. But Boston is in town.
Yep.
Boston Red Sox. And agree with this statement, best strikeout pitcher of that era is pitching for Boston that night.
Do you remember who it was?
Of course I do, because he was also a Yankee later on.
Okay. Who was it?
But he also will never be in the Hall of Fame because he was found to be using steroids.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Well, that's his own problem.
And that is the Rocket, Roger Clemens,
Okay, yeah.
who was arguably the best strikeout pitcher of that era.
Till, they found out he was...
Right. Well, that was later on in his career.
Right. True.
But still, puts an asterisk by all the numbers.
Yeah.
When you get caught using that shit.
Yeah, because then they don't know what you were using, when you were using, and when you weren't.
Right. And I think back to the Yankees when the Yankees had Roger Clemens and the pitching lineup that the Yankees had at that time, which would include Roger Clemens, Andy Pettitte, David Wells, David Cohn. It's a hell of a top four.
Those are names I have no idea who they are.
And then you get past that into the bullpen, and then for one of the seasons there, you would have had Mariano Rivera setting up John Wetland, and then after that, it was just right straight to Rivera in the 9th because he was unhittable and became the best closer in the history of baseball, bar none, period. I'm sorry, yes, I know I'm annoying you with all the Yankees and sports facts.
Oh, honey,
from the sports ball.
We're not even really into this. We're not even that far into the episode yet. I know I have a lot more stats to go.
Oh yeah, there's lots of stuff to go. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just wait till we get to the fucking Mariners.
We'll get
Those assholes.
We'll get there.
All right, and there's also more future Yankees to come.
Yes.
In the players that we see.
Yes.
Like David Cohn, for instance, from the Royals. Anyway, so Mom makes a agreement with Grandpa that if Billy finishes his science project, then he will be able to go to the game on Wednesday night. And he sells her on it by telling the story of when he was a kid, his favorite pitcher of all time
was coming to town. And he was the best strikeout pitcher of his time. Yep.
Man by the name of Walter Johnson, the Big Train.
Okay.
And Grandpa never got the chance to see him.
Right.
Which,
Because
I feel bad for him. You get the chance to see
school.
Walter Johnson pitch, you go see Walter Johnson pitch.
Right.
And Grandpa never got to. And he's like, at my age, I realized, this ain't no dress rehearsal. You don't get a second chance to go do and see the things that you want to see and do.
I remember saying, like when Bernie Sanders came to town, and it was so last minute I couldn't get off work.
Or this time around because there's a pandemic and we canceled the primary, so there's no seeing Bernie this time either.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. So Mom agrees, okay, I'm not going to rob Billy of his dreams for the rest of his life. So if he gets his project done, he can go see Roger Clemens.
And he gets his project done, right?
How does he do that?
He turns in last year's project with a different name on it. He added some trees so it didn't look the same.
Well, to be fair, the previous year, he made a volcano of Mount Vesuvius, model of Mount Vesuvius. Yep. This year, he made a model of
Mount St. Helens.
Mount St. Helens. Mount St. Helens is surrounded by forest, so he adds some trees. Mount St. Helens, there we go.
Okay, but I remember my question being, why would he have the same assignment 2 years in a row?
Which it wasn't the same assignment.
They had to. It was two different He had to. Right, but why do a volcano one year and then a volcano the next year?
Well, so my only thought is that they were doing European history one year and American history the next.
Unless it's a science project. It was never specified what class it was for.
They said science project.
Right.
So maybe he had to do a science. Maybe he did a volcano for his social studies assignment the year before, and then did it for science this year.
I'll give it to you.
So whatever. Either way, he gets his project done, and he's allowed to go to the game.
It's done. Yeah. So he goes home to get ready for the game.
Yes, and he runs home, and he's super excited.
He's yelling at his mom through the house while he's looking for his glove.
Yep. And he's looking for her, and he can't find her because he can't find his glove.
Yep.
And where's Mom?
Sitting by the phone crying.
Why is Mom crying? Why is Mom crying? We're about to go see Roger Clemens. Why is Mom crying?
Grandpa died.
Oh, Grandpa died. Yep, Grandpa died. There will be no going to the ball game tonight.
Nope.
We smash cut to the funeral.
Yep. Don't know if the game happened or not.
Yeah.
Probably didn't if the owner died.
It's possible that they played. It's possible that they didn't. Not exactly sure. But Lou's giving a great eulogy.
Yeah, about how he was signed right out of high school.
17 years old.
Yeah, and he's never been more. He hasn't felt like an owner. He's felt like a friend. Yeah,
he says that even though he's the owner of the team, you never felt like he owned you.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic. You can't really get much bigger praise than that.
Yeah.
From your ball players. So that's really good. All right. So after the funeral, we cut to lawyer's office where they're going over the will with Arthur, the GM, the lawyer, Billy, and his mom.
Yeah. Did we ever figure out what Billy's mom's name is? Or is she just Billy's mom?
I think she might just be Billy's mom, to be honest with you. I think that even
because Lou keeps going, how's your mom?
Yeah, I think even in the credits she's just called Mom, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. No, Jenny Haywood.
Jenny. Okay.
Jenny Haywood. Okay. So that's good. All right. So Billy's grandpa recorded a special addendum to his will on videotape.
Yep.
Which he taped over a classic Bulls versus Knicks game from the Garden.
Yep.
From the looks of it, looked like it could have possibly maybe been the Michael Jordan flu game.
He played while he had the flu.
And scored like 65 points.
And how many people did he get sick after that?
Who knows? But yes, he played while he had the flu and scored like 65 points.
All right.
One of the best single game performances by a player in basketball history, and he did it with the flu.
Right.
Which is amazing. But anyway, so
I was trying to figure out like why that whole thing was so funny that he had gone over that base.
It's a guy thing because that's what guys have, right? We tape sports games back then,
right? Yes,
because there wasn't like I couldn't go on.
I didn't understand if it was like a pertinent basketball game or if it was just some random basketball.
Bulls Knicks.
Okay.
Bulls Knicks from this era was they were two dominant teams in the East.
Okay.
So Bulls Knicks. Yep. You talk about. I mean, you had great players on both sides, right? You had the Bulls who had the team, right? I mean, you had Jordan, you had Pippen, you had Rodman, you had Steve Kukoc.
Okay.
Yeah, and then for the Knicks, you had Patrick Ewing, you had John Starks,
Michael Jordan.
Yeah, Michael Jordan.
And the Bulls.
Yes.
It's pertinent to our next episode.
Yes. So speaking of that, Alicia has So the next episode will actually technically be Alicia made me watch a sports movie.
Yeah.
Because it's actually a sports movie that I've never seen. I gave her the option of several movies, and including one of her favorites that I've actually seen before, Bring It On.
Yep.
She bypassed that.
I did.
Even though I wanted to see cheerleaders, but whatever.
Of course you do.
Now I get to see fucking rabbit cheerleaders or rabbit basketball players. Not quite as sexy now. So we'll be watching Space Jam.
Yes.
This will be my first ever viewing of Space Jam, which is kind of amazing considered how much of a Bill Murray fan I am.
Yes.
And a sports fan I am.
Yeah.
And if he hadn't always been destroying my Knicks, a Michael Jordan fan as well.
Right.
So we'll be watching Space Jam, and I'll be watching it for the first time. And, there will be R. Kelly jokes.
Oh, I guarantee it.
Because Jesus Christ. So there has to be.
Yeah.
So that's the next episode. Is going to be Alicia made Matt watch a sports movie.
Yep.
And it'll be Space Jam. Mm-hmm. And that should be fun. Because there's a new one for me. Yes. So, all right. And it's a funny basketball movie. There's not that many funny basketball movies. A lot of them are serious, like Hoosiers, like Blue Chips. Like they're serious basketball movies. So it'd be nice to see a funny one.
Right.
We might have to follow it up with one of my basketball movies, like
Whatever.
White Men Can't Jump or something.
Whatever.
Which is another classic.
Okay.
Wesley Snipes. All right, but anyway, yes, I can't wait to watch Bill Murray. I love Bill Murray. Any excuse to watch Bill Murray, I'm into, and he'll be in a few movies on our podcast, obviously. Caddyshack, come on.
Yep.
So, all right. Anyway, back to the lawyer meeting.
Yes.
What in the fucking world does Grandpa leave to 12-year-old Billy Haywood?
The team and the stadium.
The Twin. He just leaves. He is now the owner of the Twins.
Yes.
And everything that they're in comes with that title.
Yes.
He owns the team.
He owns the stadium.
He owns the stadium, the entire organization.
Yes.
As a 12-year-old.
Yes.
This is why this movie sticks with so many boys my age.
Because it's like a dream come true.
Yes, this is a fucking wet dream scenario here.
Oh, is it now?
Absolutely.
Okay.
As a 12-year-old boy who's into sports, 100% wet dream territory.
All right.
That you own a baseball team? Like, how fucking amazing would that be?
Not wet dream material, but okay.
Well, you didn't sports at all.
Not sports. No, I played soccer my first, kindergarten through 4th grade, and that was it.
Like, me and my friends, we always played sports.
Yeah.
Baseball being chief among them.
Yes.
So just to own the team, just to have the opportunity to play on that field would be amazing.
Right.
So, yeah. Wet dream material. Okay. Owning a sports team at that age. That'd be so cool. But it turns out to be as cool and also not as cool as you would think.
Right.
Because, yes, there's going to be a lot of responsibility.
Lots of responsibilities.
Well, but here's the thing, right? There doesn't have to be.
Right.
Like, Billy's 12. So, Arthur's there. There's a whole organization of people. Like, he doesn't have to take an active role right now because of how young he is.
Can be a kid.
Could be a kid. He also doesn't have to decide to be the fucking manager, let alone the owner, but then the fucking manager.
Right.
Like, that's even going 10,000 degrees above and beyond
Right.
just being the owner.
And Mom, for some reason, doesn't act like a mother.
No, she tries to talk him out of it.
No, she doesn't try hard enough. She's a mom. She can try a lot harder than that. So.
But she also remembers what Grandpa told him and told her. I'm doing this because I trust you.
Right.
And she also knows that, I mean, he makes a good case, right? She did tell him that he had to get a job this summer.
Yeah.
Because his other friend had a job.
Right. He's a paper boy.
So I'm only supposed to get a job if it's not a good job?
That's a teenager statement right there.
Yeah, well, there's going to be several of those. Like, it's okay with her if it's okay with you.
Yeah, I used to pull that line off.
Everybody used to pull that one with adults. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your father say? It's okay with him, but it's okay with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All right. There is one sad part in this when the lady lawyer's like, congratulations, you own the Minnesota Twins.
How do you feel?
And he's like, I'd rather have my grandfather.
Yeah.
Sad.
Yeah.
Sad, sad, sad. All right. So, next thing we do is, oh, yeah, that's right. So Billy then takes, the next thing we do is it's nighttime, and Billy brings his friends to the stadium.
Yes.
And they're out dicking around on the field.
Yes, they are.
And Mr. Head Honcho security guard shows up.
Yep.
And so this is where you think, oh my God, we're going to find like the big evil guy
Yep.
for the movie, right? Because all the movies, even they have to have
Every
like the big
movie's
bad
got
guy.
the big bad guy. And of course they would make it the black security guard, right?
Right, but instead, no, they went stereotypical, and this is
Yeah.
like this is now. We listened to another movie we listened to a movie podcast called God Awful Movies,
Yes.
where they make fun of religious movies. If that's not your thing, sorry if it's offensive. We enjoy it and think it's funny.
We do.
But there's a stereotype in a lot of those movies, which is the magical black man or magical black woman.
Yes, and I was expecting the security guard to be the magical black.
Well, that's who it is.
Yeah.
Instead of going with the bad guy for the black security
Yeah.
guard, they went and made him like the magical black guy.
Even though there's like no magic,
Right, but he's like
just a security
he's like this
guard.
part of the secret play at the end of the game.
Yeah.
And yeah. So I mean, like that's kind of like a nudge, hint to him.
Yeah, you say
being
magical
that
black guy,
character.
and I thought of Green Mile.
Yes, essentially, but
Yeah.
no magic involved in this one.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it was like that wise black man essentially character, which is so stereotypical. What?
Sorry, I just thought of a movie I need to make you watch.
What movie is that?
Angels in the Outfield,
The original or the newer
the
one?
Danny Glover one.
Okay. Because, all right. Well, yeah, I can. I don't really want to watch a religious movie, babe. You might get offended by the things I say at it.
Maybe we don't have to put it on the podcast.
We have to. It's a sports movie. If we're watching it, we're doing it. Because I know of the movie. I've just never watched it because I had no desire to watch it.
I know.
I watched a lot of sports movies, but usually only the ones I wanted to watch. All right. Anyway, so security guard comes out and is having a big hubbub about these kids being on the field.
Yeah, how'd they get in the first place?
Get out of here. And then Arthur comes running down the steps from the owner's box.
Yep.
And,
He's like, see, now you got me into trouble.
yep. And then Arthur shows up
Yeah.
and says what?
Oh, no, this is...
Billy Haywood.
Yeah.
And
After the kid introduced himself as, I'm Billy Haywood.
Right, and the security guard looks at him like, what is that supposed to mean?
Yeah, that don't mean
He's
anything.
a kid. He's like, no, he owns the Twins.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, sir.
Yeah, so sorry. And then Billy's like, Billy being a nice kid, right? So this whole thing, like, if this had been any other movie, this whole situation would have gone completely different.
Yes.
Even like Rookie of the Year, right? Because that had like the big angry ball player guy.
Yeah.
Like there was a bad guy in that movie too. So even that one would have
I mean,
gone.
there's an angry ball player in this one. But
Yeah, but he's only angry for like the first third of the movie, tops.
Yeah.
And then he's just as much of a clown as the rest of the guys,
Yeah.
except for McGreevy.
Right.
But anyway, so Billy leaves his two friends to play catch on the field while he
It's
goes and has a
it's
meeting.
all right. I get it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then we go to practice the next. I'm assuming the next day, somewhere around there, and we've got more O'Farrelling, which means yelling and hollering at people.
Yeah.
And Billy's kind of had enough with O'Farrell at this point and walks down to talk to him.
Yeah.
But as he's walking past him, one of the things that O'Farrell had told the pitcher he was yelling at, which is the big guy you were just talking about, which is Blackout.
Yeah.
He told him, Mitch Blackout Gatling.
Yeah.
He told him that he doesn't ever want to see him throw a curveball because he doesn't pay him to throw a curveball. He pays him to throw a fastball.
He doesn't pay him.
Right.
Though.
Billy pays him.
Yeah. Billy pays him.
Right. But Billy walks by Blackout and says, I like your curveball, but you're doing that. You're dropping your back, and that's why you're missing with it, and people are hitting it.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, shut up, rat boy.
Yeah.
So then Billy leaves him and goes to talk to O'Farrell and tries to convince O'Farrell to stop yelling at the guys as much.
Yeah. They're sensitive. You gotta stop yelling at
It's like my math tutor.
Yeah.
Like
But he makes really good analogies.
He does, and there's a problem there, right? Like, there's a problem when the smartest person in your movie
is a
12-year-old kid.
Yes.
Because none of the adults are going to listen to him.
Yeah.
Which, so then again, makes me think the people who wrote this have really good insight into kids. They have to have kids.
Yeah, right.
Around this age.
Yeah.
Because they have really good insights into how kids at this age think, and that I know everything because I've thought it out, but adults just don't listen to me when I tell them the right thing to do.
Because they don't.
And it's true.
Yeah.
100% true.
Right.
Because kids haven't suffered and shit, so we don't take their advice on things.
Absolutely.
It's like when people are like, oh, well, why should people get college for free now? I had to pay when I went. It's like...
Right, but there's also the whole simplicity of the mentality for it. Because, like, adults think a lot more complex-wise than children do.
Because their whole world is jaded.
Yes.
No matter if they want to admit that they're jaded or not, their whole world is jaded by being an adult for so many years.
Right, and it's like you forget what it's like to be a kid and how simple some things are.
Yeah, you forget the most important rule of things, which is keep it simple, stupid.
Yes.
As an adult, you make things more complex than they have to be.
Yes.
Just by the nature of you've gone through so many things, so you run every decision through all these filters that are your life experiences. Well, as a kid, you have less life experiences, therefore you have less filters to run everything through. So you come to the right conclusion faster than you do as an adult.
So it's like with this situation, he was telling the manager to stop yelling at them because some don't learn that way.
Right. Like him with his math tutor.
His math, he understands it better if it's described this way versus shown this way.
Right.
And so maybe it'll work better if you stop yelling at him. He's like, I'll give it a try. And then he turns right around and starts yelling at the next guy.
Yeah, it lasts for like 3 seconds.
Yeah.
What I think of when I see this scene actually is I think of Ender's Game.
Okay.
Where they specifically chose children to command the fleet because they won't process things through all the same filters that an adult will. They'll just come to the conclusion, choose the action, and do it.
Right.
Instead of weighing all these different things in their mind,
right,
trying to come up with the correct solution,
it looks
they'll just
more like
do
a
it.
video game than
The kids will just do what needs to be done because that's how their minds work.
right,
So I think of this little scene right here. I think of Ender's Game.
right,
And the way they did it in those books or movies if you never read the books, but come on, the books are way
Saw
better.
the movie in theaters once.
Never read the books?
Never read the books.
You need to read the books.
Yeah, probably.
Books are so good.
Books are good.
Yes, I read
like
them.
books.
I read them in college. They're really good.
I like books.
All right, so that's that scene. O'Farrell's days are numbered because Billy's not impressed at all.
No.
Hasn't been since day one with
Right.
O'Farrell, and now Billy's in charge.
Yep.
So Mom shows up after practice. I'm assuming to pick up Billy since he can't drive himself home.
Yep. Is that when Lou's doing the ass
So
stretches?
so she runs into Lou or Lou's ass
Yeah. Up in the air.
as he's stretching.
Yes. How appropriate.
Yep, and they have a little flirty.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And Lou says, hey,
I've been invited to the boss's big
birthday party. At the theme park.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I come?
Yeah.
So that's how you know he's got a little flirty with mom going on, is because he's asking her permission to kind of come and hang out with her.
Yeah.
So he sees this as kind of a date with mom because he knows he's not going to be hanging out with Billy because he's going to have his friends there.
Exactly.
So he knows that he's going to be basically stuck there hanging out with mom.
And none of the other baseball players were invited.
Right. Like, I would have to imagine maybe Jerry was.
Right.
Because he's really good friends with Jerry.
Yeah.
We just don't see him.
Right.
But I mean, honestly, I might even imagine that most of them got invited, right? I mean, just, and like to give them a day off to go do shit. But anyway, Lou's at least invited. I assume Jerry's there somewhere. Right. Probably brought his family. And they're kind of just like doing their own thing. The
only one we see is Lou.
The only one we see is Lou because they're keeping it simple. Because this is a 2-hour movie already.
Yes.
Without anything added. Like, I would imagine that if we got the cutting room floor back into the movie, it's probably more like 3 hours.
Quite possibly, yeah.
Because there's a lot you could have expanded on.
Yeah.
Like, who else went to this birthday party?
Right.
What else happened at this birthday party?
Right.
But, so we'll get there. We'll get to the birthday party.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fun. All right, so next we get to more middle-aged man writing humor with the boys at school.
Yeah.
So they're talking about
how he now owns the Twins.
And he has no money.
Right.
Even though he owns the Twins and the stadium.
So his friend's like, can I borrow $5?
Yeah, he's technically worth at least $1 billion.
Right.
Somewhere in that ballpark. Hundreds of millions.
Yeah.
Because the Yankees are the only baseball franchise worth $1 billion. So hundreds of millions of dollars anyway.
Yes.
Between the stadium and the team and the organization. But he doesn't have $5 to his name to loan his friend money.
Yeah.
And then they're talking about how he has like so much homework to do. Mm-hmm. And his friend Chuck is like, why bother doing homework? Just pay some if I were as rich as you, I would just pay some scientists to do my homework for me. Yeah. Because that's
a kid thing.
That's the beauty of America. If you're rich, you don't have to be smart.
Yeah. The kid was right, though.
Yep, absolutely.
The kid was absolutely right. You can pay people to be smart for you.
Yep.
That's the American way.
Absolutely. And then, so some little girl comes up and asks for Billy's autograph.
Shelly Hojaboom.
Shelly something or other,
it's
yeah.
Hojaboom, because it's the same last name as one of my teachers in middle school.
You knew somebody with that name?
I had a teacher with the last name Hojaboom. We called her Hoj.
Okay. But anyway, she comes up to get Billy's autograph. Chuck is in love with this girl. Holy crap.
Hubba.
Yeah, and let's all remember that as these 12-year-old boys are talking about her being stacked and hubba and how hot she is, this is all being written by a middle-aged dude.
Yes.
That's a little bit of creep factor to it.
It is, yes.
A little bit of creep factor to it.
See, this is stuff that never occurred to me in my first 25 years of life watching a movie.
Right.
These kids, these things these teenagers are saying.
Like teenagers, I get it because they almost always use like people who are over 18 to play your older high school kids who are put in sexual situations.
But this is like a 15-year-old being asked to play a 12-year-old.
Right.
And
it's
white men wrote the movie.
Well, it's not just about white men. It's not just about white men.
Old white men wrote the movie.
It could have been any color man. It's just an older, middle-aged man wrote the movie.
Yes.
And so that just, as you think about it, just puts a little bit of ick factor into that whole thing. And there's another scene in Rookie of the Year, which is very similar.
Yes.
With it, and you're like, oh yeah, that was written by a middle-aged dude. Like, ugh.
Thank you.
Because you had me on it. But look, it's not my fault that Hollywood is racist and only has white writers. Like, I wish it weren't true, but it really is. It really is, sadly.
3% are not white males.
Right. And then right as this scene is kind of ending, the principal comes out and yells at Billy, "Billy, in my office."
Yeah.
And Billy's like, "I wasn't even running."
Yeah, because on the day that his grandfather died, he got caught running down the hall.
Yep. So Billy gets called to the principal's office.
Yeah.
But it's because he has a phone call.
Yeah.
From Arthur.
Yes.
And a certain player is now a free agent and is available and would like to come to the Twins, maybe, possibly.
Depending on what they could offer him.
Now, do you remember who this player is?
No, of course not.
So this is Ricky Henderson,
Okay.
who is arguably the best leadoff hitter in the history of baseball.
Leadoff hitter means?
Bats number 1.
Okay.
Leadoff.
First at bat.
Yep.
Okay.
So I would say that there's a really close tie, first and second, between Ricky Henderson and Kenny Lofton for best leadoff hitter. Ricky Henderson had more power
Okay.
than Kenny Lofton, but Kenny Lofton had more speed, even though Ricky Henderson was for a long time the all-time steal leader in baseball.
These people more apt to get home runs or second
Least
base?
likely to get home runs or more likely to get little slap hits, which is what made Ricky Henderson so incredible as a leadoff man, because he actually had power.
Okay.
So he actually hit quite a lot of home runs for a leadoff guy.
Okay.
And that was what made him a special leadoff guy. Plus the fact that he would get on first and steal second, and then get on second and steal third.
Okay.
Remember from Major League, Willie Mays Hayes?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to steal 100 bases. That's Ricky Henderson's first guy to do that. So, yeah. So he was kind of modeled a little bit after Ricky Henderson.
Okay.
And that's why he was always trying to hit the home runs.
Yeah.
Like, because Ricky Henderson was a power-hitting leadoff guy.
Okay.
Who also played for the Yankees, by the way.
Of course we did.
In the Oakland A's. But he's a free agent and available.
Yes.
Wants to come to play for the Twins.
Maybe.
Supposedly. Now, what really happening here is he in no way wants to come play for the Twins. What's really going on is that he is telling the press that he wants to come play for the Twins, hoping that the Twins will offer him something so that the team he really wants to play for will offer him more.
Oh, really? Is that what happens?
Yes, she's trying to create a bidding war for himself.
Gotcha.
Happens all the time.
Gotcha.
So that's what's really going on, which is why they end up not signing him.
Right, he ended up just re-signing with the team he was
right,
on.
because they offered him what he wanted, which is really what he wanted and where he wanted to stay. He just wanted to make more money, and therefore he just started a bidding war by getting the Twins involved.
Gotcha.
Now, before he resigns, we get O'Farrell fired.
Yes.
Because there's a meeting about Ricky Henderson.
And he's like, he doesn't want him because he doesn't like him.
He had problems with him in New York.
Yes.
As a New York Yankee.
Yes.
And I love how Arthur's like, you had Mac, you had problems with everybody in New York.
Yes.
At some point, if everybody is an asshole to you, maybe they're not the assholes.
Maybe you're the problem. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So basically he tells Billy says, stop being like obtuse or acting like a third grader or whatever.
Is what he uses.
And O'Farrell goes,
obtuse?
Yeah. And then O'Farrell tells him, basically, stay out of my clubhouse, stay off of my field.
Yeah. And out of my office.
Yeah. And so Billy's like, I have a better idea, and fires him.
Yeah.
And
because it is Billy's field. It's not
100%.
field.
O'Farrell don't own shit.
Right.
Billy owns it.
Yeah.
So Billy also owns his contract.
Yes.
Which Billy can then terminate.
Yep.
So, and he does.
Yes,
and on his way out, O'Farrell takes everything that's not nailed down with him.
Including the toilet paper.
Including the
That's probably the smartest thing you grab. This.
I mean, the guy'd be a genius in 2020, grabbing that toilet paper on the way out.
Absolutely.
How many people would have been geniuses grabbing toilet paper on the way out of the business at the last day that they worked?
Right.
Here in 2020. Have been heroes at home.
Right.
Having that one extra roll of toilet paper.
We actually had a coworker who brought in like a 24-pack.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Because
you brought a roll home. Which I think is still in your purse.
It's still in my purse.
Yeah.
It's for emergencies only.
Right. We have like a whole 24-pack, but you know.
It's for emergencies only.
Yep. Emergency toilet paper. So, so O'Farrell's gone. And then the next real scene that we get is Billy playing horseshoes with Chuck and his other friend.
Yep.
And they're talking about how Billy can't find a manager to come manage the Twins because everybody thinks the team is a joke. Well, not just that, but also they're a losing team.
Yes.
They mention one name. They say even Valentine won't come.
Right.
So we'll just drop a little knowledge here. That's Bobby Valentine, who was a former manager for the New York Mets.
Okay.
So Bobby Valentine won't even come and coach for him. So he can't find a manager.
Yep.
Nobody takes him seriously.
Right.
So this is where his friends give him the idea of,
hey, maybe you should just do it.
Hey, Billy, become the manager yourself. And Billy thinks this is a great idea.
Absolutely.
I mean, what 12-year-old boy wouldn't think it's a great idea to be the manager of a Major League Baseball team?
Right.
I think it'd be a great idea, personally.
I have no comment.
Right. So he pitches it to Arthur. Arthur agrees that it's a decent idea.
Only after the other guy with the stogie.
Well, so that's what I'm saying. So he pitches it to Arthur, and then him and Arthur together pitch it to Mac,
Right.
who is the pitching coach.
Right.
And Mac doesn't believe that Billy can do it.
Right.
He's like, listen, Billy, baseball is all about situations.
But lo and behold, Billy and his grandfather used to go over situations all the time. That's what they did after the last game.
Yep. Absolutely. They went over situations.
Yes.
And so Mac puts Billy in a situation.
Yep.
You're playing the Yankees, blah, blah, blah.
So-and-so
it's the
is
seventh,
up.
it's the seventh inning. It's a home game. You're down by 1. This guy's up. This people are on base. We get some mentions of some real Yankees in there.
Who's on deck?
Mattingly.
Blah, blah, blah.
We get Mike Stanley, the catcher. And we get Jimmy Abbott, one of my favorite Yankee pitchers of all time. Jimmy Abbott literally had one arm and pitched a no-hitter at Yankee Stadium.
Nice.
He used to hold his arm cradled in his withered one arm, pitch the ball with his good arm,
And then
slide his hand into the glove to be ready to field.
Nice.
Most people out there maybe not even realize how difficult it is to catch and throw with the same hand, because growing up you learn to do one with one hand and one with the other.
But if you only have one arm, you learn to do both.
Learn to do it. And that's really impressive, because I've put on a right-handed glove and tried to catch with my right hand. It is goddamn impossible for me.
Is it?
Yeah. Horrible at it. And I could probably throw the ball 4 feet with my left hand.
I can catch with my right hand. I can't throw with my left.
Nope. I can only catch with my left and throw with my right. I've tried. It doesn't work. I've also tried to bat lefty. Doesn't work for me.
I can catch.
I am not a switch hitter.
I don't know if I'm a switch hitter.
You might be. You play tennis both righty and lefty. You don't have a backhand. You just switch around and play like it's a forehand both ways.
I do.
Yeah. So who knows? But yeah. So that's Jimmy Abbott. Mike Stanley was a good catcher. I like Mike Stanley. He's a decent guy. And then Mattingly, of course.
Right.
You grew up a Yankees fan and you're my age. Don Mattingly was literally a baseball god to you. Yes. Absolutely. Donnie Baseball. Yep.
All right.
Old number 23. I've got his autograph. I'm sorry.
Oh, do you?
I have an autographed helmet from Don Mattingly.
It must be at your mother's.
It is at my mother's house, yeah. I don't have much of my sports memorabilia here.
Yeah.
I have a room that's loaded with it. You've seen some of it.
Yeah.
Tiger Wood, Wheaties, unopened.
Yeah, he still has
Jeter Flakes.
His bedroom is still at his mother's house,
Yep.
yeah.
Unopened box of Jeter Flakes.
Yes. I think
yeah.
we just opened the Yankees Monopoly.
Yeah. Yep. Vintage 1999 Yankees Monopoly.
Yep.
But it hadn't gone up in value that much. I was like, fuck it, I want to play with it.
Yeah.
Because I held on to it since 99.
Yep.
I want to use it. So I used it. Whatever. It's all good. So Billy, knocks the situation out of the ballpark and actually, makes Mac look dumb for not understanding the situation all the way through.
Because Mac goes, yeah, what does he need me for?
Yeah, that's the end of it. He goes, when Arthur goes, any questions? Yeah, what does he need me for? Which is they're playing Billy up as this baseball computer guy.
Yeah.
Which is cool. As a kid who, okay, nerd alert.
Nerd alert! Nerd alert!
As a kid who literally read at one point in my life, pretty much entirely, the entire way through the Bill James Historical Baseball Abstract, I understand Billy's obsession with baseball and stats.
Since I already knew you read the entire encyclopedia set when you were a kid, I'm not surprised you read that.
So this is what I'm talking about. People out there might know what it is. If not, you can look it up. It's called the Bill James Historical Baseball Abstract. Let me tell you how many pages this bad boy is.
1,000.
Oh, easily. Oh, does Amazon tell me how many pages? It does not. But it's basically every stat for every player in the history of baseball, all compiled into one book.
All the weird stats that are mentioned in the
No, all the legit stats.
Okay.
All legit stats for all seasons, all games, all World Series, all postseasons, along with little examinations of individual situations and games that have played out throughout history. Gotcha. It's a crazy cool book. I loved it.
Is it anything like that bathroom baseball book I bought?
No, this is it's legit just a book of stats. Like, here's the look inside. Like, you can come take a look at this and see what it looks like.
No thanks.
And then you get in.
Starts in the 1870s.
Yeah, and then you get your list of players and your teams and where they were, and you start getting into stats, home runs. I mean, Joe DiMaggio. Like, you get it's a fucking textbook for baseball. Is what it is. Today they have computers that keep all this information. Back then we had the Bill James Historical Baseball Abstract. Yeah, and that's what I read because I won it at a Little League training camp. It was a door prize.
Was it?
Yep. So I won them, funny. And I read it. I have I'll show you to my mom. I have a very well-worn copy of that book.
Well-worn.
Well-worn because it was used. But yeah, I mean that's what Billy is. Billy's essentially the walking Bill James Historical Baseball Abstract, which is cool.
All right.
Let's see, and then so we cut right then to Arthur and Billy on the phone with the commissioner. Telling the commissioner, look, Billy wants to be the manager. The commissioner only wants to know one thing, and that's, is it okay with his mom?
And this is where the famous teenager line comes. It's okay with her if it's okay with you.
Yeah, which then, of course, gets reversed at the press conference where his mom says, I can't believe the commissioner agreed to this. And Billy goes to his mom.
He said it was okay with him if it was okay with you.
Which this just reminds me, there's this joke that I heard years ago. This guy has a daughter.
Okay.
And he wants his daughter to marry Bill Gates' son or what? Or he has a son who wants to marry Bill Gates' daughter. Okay. And so he goes to Bill Gates and he says, I would love for my son to marry your daughter. He's gonna be, VP of something or other at this really important bank. Mm-hmm. So I think that they'd be a good power couple together. And Bill Gates says to him, yeah, I mean, that's fine with me if he's, this VP of whatever. Mm-hmm. Then of course I would give my blessing for them to get married. And then so he goes to the president of this bank and he's like, hey, look, my son is marrying Bill Gates' daughter. I think he's probably worthy of having this VP position at your bank. And the guy's like, oh yeah, I completely agree. And so that's how he gets together with both Bill Gates' daughter and gets this super high VP job by saying basically, it's okay with me if it's okay with him. It's okay with me if it's okay with him. I just found that funny. I find that as a funny example of how that works.
Right, yeah. Adults don't do that very often anymore.
No,
but definitely the kids do it because I caught my youngest sister doing that.
Yeah, well, yeah, your youngest sister's a shifty one, so
she is very shifty. She's a good girl. She's a good girl, but she's very shifty. She's very good at it.
Yeah, so that's the press conference. I love the joke that Billy starts off with at his press conference. Where he says, I forget who he says, but he says, some famous, I think it was Ty Cobb, but he said, Cobb said, baseball is a kid's game. Adults just fuck it up, essentially. Yeah. Which, Ty Cobb, we'll be watching Cobb, the movie. Okay. Based after Ty Cobb, who had the nickname the Georgia Peach. Makes you think he was a nice guy. Like a racist asshole who used to slide into second base with his spikes up, hoping to, cut somebody's leg. Yeah, this guy. But also one of the greatest hitters in baseball history. But had the nickname that makes you think he's this really super nice guy. It's called the Georgia Peach.
Is that why he had a really nice guy nickname? Because he was an asshole?
Probably. But yeah, so we'll watch Cobb. It's a great movie.
Okay.
A great watch. And then, so that's the press conference. And then it's time to get into baseball.
The press conference was him announcing that he was going to be manager.
Yep.
To the public.
Yep. As of Friday, when my commitment to Theodore P. blah 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 middle school has concluded.
Yeah, for the baseball team. Yep, he's leaving the baseball team to join this team.
Yes,
basically is what he's saying.
Yep, to become the manager.
Yep.
All right. So, should we get to some baseball in our baseball movie breakdown?
Yeah, we probably should.
Probably should get to some baseball.
Yes. All
right. So, full disclosure, during our hour-long-ish break from recording, I busted out on YouTube that 1995 ALDS Game 5 between the Mariners and the Yankees.
Yep.
Just, I guess, so I could further piss myself off before finishing this recording.
Yeah, because, you got to be heated about something.
I mean, arguably, that game is one of the best baseball games I've ever seen played.
Yeah.
While also, at the exact same time, being one of the most soul-crushing games I have ever seen played.
And both for the same reason?
So, it's just an amazing game.
Okay.
It's back and
the one
forth.
with 15?
Nope, that was game 2 that Jim Leyritz won at Yankee Stadium with a 15th inning walk-off home run.
Okay.
Fantastic game. This is still an 11-inning game.
Okay, still. But
So-
that's still more inning, because a regular game is 9 innings.
9 innings, correct. So there's still 1 extra innings. It's a decisive game 5, so it's win or go home. That means everybody's available. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
You pitch the night before as a starter, you pitch 7 innings, too fucking bad. You know what? You're available because it's win or go home, so everybody's available.
Okay.
So, fantastic game. But, again, as we talked about earlier, growing up a Yankees fan when I did, Don Mattingly was God, essentially, when it came to baseball.
Okay.
The Yankees went to the World Series. They didn't win it, but they went the year before Mattingly joined the New York Yankees. He'd been playing in the minors before that.
Okay.
The year before he came up to the big club, they went to the World Series.
Okay.
They lost the World Series, but they went. All throughout Mattingly's career, they did not go to the World Series. In fact, they didn't even make the playoffs until 1995, his final season.
Okay.
And then they lose in Game 5 of the ALDS, and Mattingly retires, having never gone to the World Series.
And then the next year they go back to
The
World
next
Series.
year, they fire Buck Showalter as the manager, bring in Joe Torre. The group of Andy Pettit, Bernie Williams, Derek Jeter, and Jorge Posada start playing on a regular basis.
Okay.
That's the core 4 plus, or Ann Rivera, who becomes the closer in '96.
Okay.
So that's the core 4 plus Bernie Williams, who had been on the team for quite some time at that point. He was there in the '80s when I went to my first game.
Okay.
And they won the World Series in '96, and then went on to win like 6 out of 8 World Series over the next coming years, right after Mattingly leaves.
Poor Mattingly.
Poor Mattingly, who only reason he retired is because he was suffering from back spasms, and they couldn't figure out what it was. He rightfully should have had another 3 or 4 years
Right. But because
on
of
his
this-
career, which means he should have had at least a couple of World Series rings.
Right.
Should have had one in '93.
Right.
Really, really had a good shot in '95. It would have been tough to get past the Indians, but still, they got knocked out by the Mariners. So that's why I might get a little heated in our discussion of the final game of this movie.
You get heated in every sports conversation we ever have.
I might get really heated, though, because it's the Mariners knocking a team out of the playoffs.
Okay.
So,
So if there's ever a long period of time in which I'm not speaking, but he's on a rant, it's just because I'm letting him vent.
I don't know. I don't think I'll have to vent.
Oh, I'm pretty sure you will at least once.
I've had 25 years to vent over this. I think I'm okay. Yeah.
Okay, sure.
All right. So anyway, where did we leave off? We left off just after the press conference.
Yes.
All right. So we start off in the locker room before the first game with Billy as manager.
Yes.
Billy rolls in. The guys are cracking jokes about Billy as Billy walks in.
Poor kid.
Yeah. Bowers is telling jokes. I think his is the one that gets told right as Billy walks in, where he's like, "Hey, has anybody realized that our new manager can't even watch a rated R movie for like the next 10 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking Bowers.
Yeah.
Who will quickly grow on us as one of the greatest
Yes, he will.
men in this movie. But, yeah. Lou seems all right with it. A lot of the guys seem all right with it.
A lot of them seem iffy with it, and some are just downright.
Some are apathetic. I wouldn't say, happy with it, but most of them are apathetic about it.
Right.
There's a few that are downright pissed.
But I'll be honest, if I busted my ass to be where I am and then a 12-year-old comes and takes my place, I'd be pissed too. So.
Right. Yeah.
I can't say I would take it lightly.
That's
or
fair.
Easily. So.
I mean, these are highly paid, highly trained guys who have spent their entire life dedicated to the pursuit of one thing. That's playing professional baseball.
Right.
So I understand a 12-year-old comes in and starts bossing them around. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
That's like when you're you've been at your company forever, and then like
That's when I've been there 9 years, and a new person comes in who has absolutely no experience working with people and gets paid $7 more an hour than I am.
or comes in as your boss.
No, just coming in at $7 more starting, and I'm not than what I'm currently making after I've been there 9 years.
Right. It's different though. It's even more different when they're your boss, right? This is the 50-year-old.
Yes.
The 50-year-old middle manager guy who's been at a company forever, and then all of a sudden, some new 25-year-old straight out of Wharton comes in as the new like VP of his division.
Yeah.
And starts dicking him around.
No, I get it.
Yeah. So,
Just when I see stuff like that, it makes me think of that because she eventually did become my quote-unquote boss only because she was a primary and I wasn't.
Because you decided not to be, yeah.
Yes.
Yep, no, I hear you. But yeah, so the two that are really having a problem with Billy are the catcher, Hodges, and the starting pitcher, McGreevy. Everybody else is kind of apathetic about it.
Right.
Lou's taking it the best, and that's because he knows he's about to be banging the boss's mom. So he's all right. He's all right with that. So he's all right.
Well, he's always seemed pretty laid back anyways, and he's always liked the family. So, and it's not like anything was done wrong.
Right, and none of them it's not like O'Farrell was loved by the team,
right?
And Billy got rid of him in like this like massive coup. The team hated O'Farrell too,
exactly.
So it's pretty good. So then we jump into the first game.
Yep.
And okay, so we both noticed the commentator. You asked me, are these actual stats?
Yes.
That this was it Wally Holland?
Yes.
The announcer is reading off, and
yes.
No, these are not real. So, I mean, technically, yes, I guess are real stats in a sense, but like nobody gives a shit about breaking down somebody's average by like here comes blah 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 who's hitting 4 for 6 off of right-handed pitchers above the Mason-Dixon line after August against teams who play in a dome, Like, these are the stats that he reads to try to get positive stats for the Twins players because they're having a shitty year.
Yeah.
So that's why he's doing it.
Okay.
It's kind of, they're trying to do like a knock, right? So this is a family movie.
Yes. What
they're trying to do is get an announcer that's as funny as Major League.
And failing.
And I don't even know if they're failing, right? When you accept that this is a family movie, so they can't get away with the shenanigans that they get away with in Major League. They can't swear. They can't have him drunk and passed out.
Right.
I think that he does a better job in this movie of being funny than John Candy does in Rookie of the Year.
Okay.
So I find it amusing, the stats.
Okay. I was just confused. So I couldn't find them funny because I had no idea what the fuck he was talking about.
Right. So there are,
if I paid close attention, I could figure it out. But he just went on this kind of like 2-sentence, 3-sentence rant. And I'm like,
right.
What does any of that mean?
Right, like a real stat that you would pay attention to at this time, right? Because these days it's like books of stats because it's all stat driven now. Yeah. But back then you would pay attention to, how does this hitter hit against righties or lefties? Mm-hmm. How does this pitcher pitch against righties or lefties?
Yeah.
How does he hit late in games, early in games? With runners on, without runners on, things like that.
All the stress of it, having runners on.
Right, exactly. So those are the stats you pay attention to, not this whole batting .475 against lefties below the Mason-Dixon line in open air stadiums.
In the 7th inning.
Where the grass is mowed left to right instead of right to left.
Now, see, that stat I thought only mattered in golf.
No, okay, so... There are teams who have been known to, depending on who's pitching, change the height of the grass. So let's say that their pitcher is a ground ball pitcher, right? He gets most of his guys out by throwing sinker sliders down that players hit on the ground.
Okay.
That's how he gets most of his outs. So they would let the grass grow a little taller to slow down ground balls to make it easier for their infielders to catch them and throw the runners out. If the other team's pitcher is a ground ball pitcher, but their pitcher is not, they might shorten the grass so that balls fly through the infield faster and make it harder for the other team to field them and get the runners out.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so there is strategy to the lawn care in baseball games.
I had no idea.
Oh, yeah.
Now, in the golf movie we had watched.
Yes, you've got fairways and you've got rough and you've got the green and
we were talking, and I think it was oh my God, what's the movie?
Legend of Bagger Vance?
Yes.
Yep.
Where they're talking about the moist grass in the morning and the dry grass in the evening.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. But yeah, there are baseball teams that have been known to adjust grass height to help their pitchers or hurt the opposing pitchers.
While I understand it, you really can't tell by looking at the grass if it's too long or too short.
Well, there's no regulation as to what the length has to be. So let's say the other team, let's say you're the home team, and the opposing team has an incredible bunter on their team.
Right.
So what do you want to do if you're a bunter? You want the ball to stay closer to home plate.
So you keep the grass a little longer.
So you keep the grass a little longer. Or, well, you would want that as the bunter. Mm-hmm. If you're the team that's playing against that person who bunts, you want the grass really short because that'll help the ball go faster towards the infielders. You've got a better chance of throwing them out on their bunt. So, yeah, I mean, there are teams that have strategized the length of the grass.
I don't even know what to say to that.
Hey, a lot of people do not understand.
That's just insane.
A lot of people do not understand the nuances of baseball.
I mean,
there's a reason it's America's pastime.
I guess when I compare it to bowling and the oil designs they use, it makes perfect sense. Mm-hmm. Because of the way the oil is on the lanes when I'm bowling. So if I have to compare it, it makes sense. But if bowling's not in my head at all, and you're just telling me that that's why they do that, I'm completely flabbergasted.
And it gets even better with like certain types of turf because there's types of turf where you can just crank up the height of the grass or crank down the height of the grass. You don't have to mow it. Yeah.
Like hand crank the grass?
Essentially, you can raise the height of the grass or lower the height of the grass on demand with certain types of turf. It's expensive systems, but you're talking about multi-million-dollar baseball fields. So the ones with turf, of course, are going to spend the money on the best of the best of the best with honors, sir, and use that to their advantage.
All right, my mouth is getting dry with my jaw hanging down because I'm just so confused.
It's not confusing. I mean, it's unbelievable until you look at the strategy involved in baseball.
That's way too much work for me right now.
Right. That's way too much work for most people. Yeah, exactly. All right, so the big part of this first game is an end-of-the-game situation where...
the pitcher?
With the catcher.
Catcher.
Remember, so they're down by a run, and they've got a runner on second.
Yes.
And Hodges, who's the catcher, is up to bat. And it's the ninth inning. Mm-hmm. So they're trying to tie the game up.
Yes.
So Billy calls for a hit and run, which if you don't know what a hit and run is,
nope.
Runner takes off from their base like they're stealing, but instead of a straight steal, the batter is supposed to swing and make contact and hit the ball somewhere, giving the runner a better chance of getting to their base, and even if it gets through, then even scoring off of it. That's a hit and run instead of just a straight steal.
Okay.
So Hodges, quote unquote, misses the sign for the hit and run, lets the runner just go straight steal, and because he's not a fast runner, he gets thrown out. Right. Therefore, ending everything.
Yeah, and losing the game.
And so, of course, after the game, the all the press is, well, first they're talking to Bowers.
Yes.
Which is hilarious because he's being interviewed, so he's talking about the game.
Yep.
Because he was the relief pitcher that came in.
Yep.
And as soon as Billy rocks in, all the press just runs away from Bowers straight to Billy.
There was only one with Bowers. I think.
There was
a swarm came in the doors.
Yeah. Right. And Bowers just keeps talking as if the reporter's still there talking to him.
He's like, what the fuck? Watched her walk away and then turn around and continued having the same conversation.
With himself.
Yes.
It was hilarious. But, of course, they asked Billy, if you had it to do over again, would you allow that steal or would you go with a hit and run? And Mac, the pitching coach, is about to yell, it wasn't a steal, it was a hit and run, but Billy stops him and says, now that I think about it, I'd probably go with a hit and run next time and look straight at Hodges.
Yeah.
And you can just see Hodges, like, his soul die.
Yeah.
Because he's a good dude. He was pissed about Billy being there, but he realizes that he just cost his team a game. Like, whatever he thinks of Billy, he just cost his team a game.
Yeah.
And
it wasn't just to spite... And whether or not it was just to spite Billy, it had bigger consequences.
Right, and everybody on the team knows what he did.
Yep.
And that because everybody else would have seen the sign.
Yep.
So everybody knows what he did. Everybody knows that he did a shitty thing.
Yes.
Which puts him in a terrible position.
Yep.
And then and we know that everybody knows that he missed the sign, quote unquote, because later on in the shower room, him and McGreevy are talking, and McGreevy's like, way to show up the little punk today or something like that. You know, we'll have him out of here in a couple weeks type of thing. And again, you can see Hodges' whole soul die again there.
Yeah.
And that's like the turning point for Hodges.
It didn't take long.
No, it took one game.
Yeah.
And
takes McGreevy a little longer.
Right. So this is where Billy comes up with his look. If you guys just play hard, have fun for 2 weeks.
Yep.
If we're not winning, and if you guys aren't happy with my performance, then I'll fire myself essentially and hire a new manager.
Right.
And so everybody agrees because they don't have a choice really.
Yep.
But everybody's like, okay, fine. And so the next thing we get is fishing.
Him and Chuck and the other guy.
Chuck and the other kid. I feel so bad. Be like, I've got. Like, I could pull up IMDb right here, but I'm not. Because why would I?
Google what his friend's name is.
That's right.
We're not calling him the other guy for another
I was going to keep calling him. Because the sad part is, the third kid, who's not even part of the group, later on, we know his name, Lowell.
Yeah.
But we don't know the other kid. It's Chuck and somebody.
Yeah.
Anyway, so him, Chuck, and somebody are fishing at what they call... What do they call it?
The bridge.
Raging River or something like that? Which is like this little stream that's going way too fast for fishing.
Yes.
And also...
And B, they're fishing off the wrong side of the bridge.
Yeah. So these guys are sitting on the upstream side of the bridge.
Yep.
Fishing upstream.
In fast water.
With bobbers.
Yes.
That doesn't work. No. You sit on the downstream side.
Yep.
Cast your bobber out and let it sit and hope you catch something. But unless there's like a ton of fucking Alaskan salmon in this Minnesota creek,
right.
I don't think they're catching anything. And they say that they've never caught a fish.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, they're fishing.
That was the first thing I saw with that scene. I'm not much of a fisher, but I've done it a few times, and even I know that you don't fish upstream, you fish downstream.
Correct. And you don't fish in that kind of... You can fish in that kind of water, but it requires being way more active. You need to be fly fishing at that point, and it needs to be feeding time in order to do it.
Yeah.
If you want some help on that, go check out A River Runs Through It. Great fishing movie. It is a great fishing movie with Tom Skerritt, Brad Pitt. Good stuff. The book was written by the same guy who wrote The Bridges of Madison County.
Oh, really?
Just a little drop-in knowledge there for everybody.
Random knowledge.
Whatever.
That may or may not be necessary.
Whatever.
In any point of my life.
Just check it out. River Runs Through It. Great movie. I'm going to make Alicia watch that at some point. It's not a sports movie, but I'm going to make her watch it. It's a classic. It's really good.
All right.
It's so good.
Make a list.
Check it twice. You're going to find out which movies are naughty or nice. All right. So then we go to game 2, and this is where Billy protecting Hodges and not throwing him under the bus is going to pay off.
Yes.
So again, we're in the late innings of the game. We jump straight to the end of the game. We've got Blackout Gatling in pitching, but he's not doing well.
No, he's having a fit.
Yep. So Billy goes in to take him out and bring in Bowers.
Yes.
And so Billy comes out, Lou Collins comes out, because when you take a pitcher out, the whole infield comes in. Just standard procedure.
Why?
It's just the way it is.
Are they trying to keep someone from attacking?
No. They're just talking. They're strategizing.
Oh, okay.
Because when you bring in a new pitcher, you're going to change the sign. You're going to change the sign order. You're going to change the type of pitcher, so therefore you might be going from a ground ball pitcher to a fly ball pitcher. You might be going to a strikeout pitcher, a wilder pitcher. You never know. So people need to be on the ball and on the knowledge of what the game plan is for that new pitcher going forward. Okay. So that's why you bring your infielders in. Okay. Lou Collins comes in, of course, backs up Billy naturally. Yeah. When Blackout's like, whose side are you on? Or he's like, he tells Lou he's going to beat him up too. Yeah. And then he calls Billy a rat boy. Yeah. But then Hodges comes up after Blackout says, whose side are you on? And Hodges, who was the catcher who missed the sign, quote unquote, the day before, says his, backing up Billy. Yeah,
because he's the manager.
Yeah, so now Billy's won him over.
Yeah.
Which pretty much just leaves McGreevy as the only dickhead on the team right now. Yeah. So Blackout gets pissed, but Bowers comes in. Yep. And I love it when Bowers comes in because he looks right at Gatling and he's like, I want you to know I had nothing to do with this.
Yep. It wasn't my decision to come in. Please don't beat me.
Yeah. If anybody out there hasn't seen this movie, but they have seen, say, Major League 2, Blackout Gatling's about the size of Jack Parkman. He's huge. He's this huge, scary-looking dude.
Yeah, he's scary.
He's what they make the Yankees look like in funny baseball movies because the Yankees are always the evil empire, so they always have like this, which is right. So they always have the Yankees with like these fucking like beards and mustaches and goatees and mullets and everything like that. Here's the funny thing: throughout that entire era, New York Yankees players were not allowed to have facial hair except for a mustache, and were not allowed to have mullets. They were not allowed to have hair past the ears. Yeah. But yet, every movie shows them as like these evil, like trucker-looking guys. Yes, it's like no, that's like the Yankees. Literally, the only team with a rule against hair like that. Yeah. And that's because Steinbrenner didn't like it. Like him and Mattingly at one point went to war over Mattingly's mullet.
Really?
Yeah.
I remember watching a movie when I was younger. It was a sports movie, and all the Yankees had like beards and big hair, and I'm like, that's not the Yankees.
That's Rookie of the Year.
Is it?
Yes, because that movie also had a guy who looked a lot like Blackout Gatling.
Yes.
The big Yankees. He's like grinding the bat and sawdust is it's Rookie of the Year. Okay. Grinding his bat and sawdust is coming off of it. Yeah. Okay. Yep, exactly. But yeah, so Bowers comes in. Yep. But they still lose. So there's a little bit of animosity in the dugout, in the locker room after the game. Yes. Which causes Billy to say, look, you guys didn't win last year. You guys weren't winning with O'Farrell. Maybe I'm not the one who's the problem here. Right. And he goes on a speech. Yes. And everyone knows I love speeches. Yes. So we're going to cut the speech in right here.
You do that.
But I love this speech, right? This is where he makes his 2-week promise. Yes. And it's really good, right? Because he talks about, you guys are all-stars, like Lou, and, you guys are all-stars. Jerry, you're one of the best hitters in the history of baseball. You guys get to go to Yankee Stadium and, play in the same outfield as Joe DiMaggio. You get to stand in the same batter's box as Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig. Yeah. And, like, as a Yankees fan, first of all, say it to me. Bring it on right now. Yeah, absolutely. So this is so they decide to go ahead and play for it, and then we cut away. We have a day off because it's Billy's party day. Yep. And then there's a practice coming up after that, and he wants everybody there rested because they're going to work on some new plays. Yep. Which means trick plays because we're getting into trick plays.
Yeah, because
it's a little leaguer. Yeah, so fun. Why not? Absolutely. The only part to talk about at Billy's party at the theme park is
the water slide.
The water slide.
Or should it be Lou and Jenny?
Well, that's both, right? Because so Lou and Mama Haywood.
Jenny.
Jenny. Yeah. My Jenny. Yeah. So Lou Gump. Yeah. And his Jenny.
Lou Gump. I like it.
They're walking around. Lou's eating
a corn dog.
A corn dog, because you're a dude, you're at a theme park, you're eating a corn dog.
Absolutely.
It's just the way it is. You're eating
corn
a corn
dogs
dog.
And cotton candy.
Yep, and probably a funnel cake.
Yes.
If I have to be honest, probably a funnel cake.
Yes.
Shouldn't have a funnel cake. Also shouldn't have a corn dog. But you know what? Fuck it, I am.
You don't even get them once a year, so you're allowed to have them.
Right. And you wouldn't be eating a corn dog. You'd be eating the giant turkey leg.
I would be. Yes, I would be. Yep.
But they're talking, and Lou invites Mama Haywood out for food that doesn't come on a stick.
Yes.
She notes that she hasn't been on a date in 14 years.
The last time she was on a date was with her husband.
Yep. So 14 years.
So it's been longer than Billy's been alive.
Yes.
Because she's only 12.
Right. And he says, and I love Lou's line here, well, at the risk of breaking a pretty impressive streak, because he's a sports guy.
Yes.
So, breaking a streak.
Yeah.
At the risk of breaking a pretty impressive streak, do you want to go out sometime? We can go to, dinner and a movie, or go to see a movie or something. And she's like, what happened to food not on a stick?
Yeah.
And he's like, I guess we can do that, too.
Yeah, that's right, because movie theater food's basically fast food.
Right.
Yeah.
If not even worse. I mean, at this point, it's basically just popcorn and
Yeah,
pretzels.
it's butter, yeah.
Yeah, popcorn and pretzels.
And really small bags of candy for $6.
Yeah, they didn't have a lot of nowadays you go there and serve a 3-course fucking meal if you really want it.
If you really want it, yeah.
But
it's like
that
having
wasn't
a pizza place in the movie theater.
But that wasn't possible back then because I worked at a movie theater not too long after this.
Yeah.
5 years after this.
Yeah.
And we were still just at that point popcorn, candy, and pretzels. But whatever.
Yeah.
We had the big bulk candy though.
Yeah.
Big bulk candy to spend the 10,000 different
The
kinds of
10-cent
candy.
candies?
Well, it's just you filled the bag and you paid by the weight.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of wish they still did that because
Not with COVID.
I hate paying $7.
Not with COVID around. I'm going to pass on the bulk candy probably forever.
Yeah.
I'm not going to spritz all my candy and rubbing alcohol.
Yeah. Well, the way they dispense candy at our local Wegmans down there.
That's true.
It's all in the plastic canister, and you push the button, and they.
Some of them had the
cereal.
Scoopies.
No, I don't like the Scoopies.
I know, but some of the good candy.
Cereal.
Some of the good candies comes with the Scoopies, though.
I know.
Also gone forever. Trail mix bar.
Yep.
Probably the hummus bar at Wegmans. I know. Only prepackaged hummus from Wegmans from now on.
Maybe the Sorrel prepackage it for us.
Maybe, but yeah. By the way, Wegmans roasted red pepper hummus.
Amazing.
To die for.
I won't eat any other kind.
But somehow they managed to stop on the bridge that's right over the Log Plume River.
Which Billy and his two friends are currently riding.
Yep, and they're yelling at Lou and Mom, but they can't really hear them.
Yeah, Mom's like, what did he say?
Yep, and then they get soaked.
Yep. And Lou's like, I think he said get off the bridge.
Yes. Which is a good thing because, they're fucking soaked.
They should know better. Anyone who goes to these places should know better. If there's a bridge over a body of water, you don't stand in the middle of it for too long.
Right, exactly. All right, so...
Especially if some of the water, if the water going underneath it, at some point goes downhill. Common sense.
Yes.
But then again, sometimes that's my favorite part, is standing on the bridge and getting wet.
Well, and also the bridge is there because the line sometimes is long enough that it goes across the bridge, which means you sometimes don't have a choice but to get soaked.
Right, yes.
So, yeah. So after the party, we go to the next game.
Yep.
And we're going to bust out our first trick play.
Yes.
So this one is hilarious. The old double bass on the walk.
I don't remember.
So
I just remember the one with the security guard.
Okay, so this is the first one. So they've got the guy, Hodges is up to bat.
Okay.
And this is their neutral play they've been working. So Billy is coaching third.
Okay.
He's the third base coach at this point. He's decided he wants to be the third base coach because he knows that he wants to do the trick play, and it's going to be harder for one of his other coaches to convince the player to do it.
Right.
So he decides he's going to go out there and do it. So he's got Hodges up 3-0. So 3 balls, no strikes.
Okay.
So he calls Hodges over and tells him, look, if this guy throws ball 4, I want you to do it. And Hodges is like, are you sure this is legal? And Billy's like, it's fine. Ty Cobb used to do it all the time back in the day.
Okay.
So Hodges gets ball 4, and takes his walk down to first, except he doesn't walk.
He runs.
He runs, and when he gets to first,
He keeps going.
just turns straight
I
and
remember.
heads towards second.
Yep. And so now everyone panics. It's like, whoa, what's he doing?
And
so
they've
now
got
they
a
have to
runner
try
on
and...
third
Yep.
at the time.
Yep.
And so he's running to second. The catcher looks back the runner at third,
Yep.
but then as he heads back, it's Mickey Scales, I believe, is the runner on third. He starts to head back towards third, so the catcher throws the ball out to second to try to get Hodges
And he
out.
turns back around and runs home.
Yep, and
Yep,
scores
I
the
remember.
winning run.
Yep.
And so they win their first game in a while,
Yep.
all thanks to Billy's trick play.
Yes.
And everybody is having fun and
Yep. And
hoo-hawing.
this starts a montage, right?
This starts the winning montage, the first winning montage, which I think is my favorite montage because it's a montage of everybody on the team being super happy and excited and having fun and being jagoffs,
Yeah.
while McGreevy's just sitting there looking
miserable.
more and more pissed off every time he gets cut to in the montage.
He's got his arms crossed, and we've got one guy. I can't remember what the one guy's doing, but the Bowers has the bottoms that are cut out of paper cups, and he's wearing them like goggles.
Yeah, and Blackout's got like the big black dorky glasses.
Yep.
He's wearing those like the horn rims, like Wild Thing uses in Major League.
Yes.
And they're doing like funny faces,
Yep.
and they got like the backwards rally caps on,
Yeah.
and they're just having a grand old time. There's the one guy, I believe it's Mickey Scales, who's got like a fucking Prince long hair.
Oh, the wig,
on,
yeah.
doing like the fucking
Dancing in the
doing the
dugout.
moonwalk in the dugout. This is where we get our first view of discount Kirby Puckett.
Yep.
Who's there with the yellow tinted glasses on. So anybody who remembers baseball from this era will remember Kirby Puckett from the Minnesota Twins. So I think that this guy's there as a nod to Twins fans.
Okay.
Because you look at him, and if you know the Twins from this era, you immediately think, hey, the guy looks a little bit like Kirby Puckett.
Okay.
Who was like their legit best star.
Okay.
Helped win in the World Series in 87 and 89. So,
Okay.
yep. So, yeah, so you
And
get
McGreevy
discount.
just looks miserable.
And he's just sitting on the bench by himself. Everybody else is having fun except for him.
Yep, they're elbowing each other and pushing each other off the sides of the benches.
Yep. Yeah.
That was actually kind of funny. Lou and what's the other black guy's name? Not Jerry, the other one.
Mickey Scales.
Yeah, Mickey Scales slid him off the.
With Bowers slid Billy off the bench. Because
Yep.
he was like bumping into Lou. And then Lou like bumped back against him.
Yep, it was Bowers, Scales, and Lou.
And
Yep.
they all three bumped against Billy and knocked him
Yep,
off the
just
bench.
slid him right down the bench. Yeah.
Which was hilarious.
Yeah.
One of my other favorite parts of this montage was when Billy was placed. So we're given like that Billy understands hitters and pitchers and situations so well that like he can tell exactly what a hitter's going to do depending on what pitch is called, and exactly where they're going to hit it.
Oh yeah.
So he places Lou, like he tells Lou to come closer to the line, because Lou's the first baseman.
Yep.
And Lou's like would like move over like a half a step and then stop. Billy's like, no, over
Come
more.
on.
And
Come
so
on.
Lou finally moves and Billy stops him.
Yeah.
And so he's like, okay. So he just stays there. And the next thing you see is a hot shot line drive, literally right into Lou's glove.
Yep. And Billy puts his hands in the air like, I told you.
Which is hilarious. That's a funny spot.
Yeah, Lou looks at it like he just found a gold nugget.
Yeah, Tywin Lannister just shit gold into his glove, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's pretty funny. And then we get out of the montage, and then we get what is it? We get the boys, Billy, Chuck, and the other kid playing Monopoly.
Yes.
And first of all, they play with one of my favorite rules.
If you land on go, you collect $500.
Right.
From
We
the
would
bank.
love to hear from you guys either in the comments on this or hit us up on Twitter.
Yes.
At Sports Movie Pod. I'm going to put a poll up on Twitter, and I'm also going to put a poll up on the website on this episode.
Do we have a Twitter for this?
Yeah, Sports Movie Pod.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we got a Twitter. We got it all covered, babe. Don't worry about it. It's all good. You just let the computer dude do his thing.
I'll let the computer dude do his thing.
But I'll put up a poll. When you guys are playing Monopoly, when you land on go, is it $500 or just the standard $200? I have always played with until now, because Alicia would not allow me to continue playing this way with our new house rules. Now it's if you land on go, you only get 200. But for all of the Monopoly games I've ever played in my life before this, it was always if you pass go, you get 200. But if you land on go, you get 500.
Okay, I'm not going to get into the Monopoly discussion with you right now.
Right, no, I'm just saying it's pertinent because they're playing with that rule in the game.
Yes, they are.
In the movie. So they're playing with if you land on go, you get $500.
Yes.
But then they convinced Chuck, poor Chuck. Oh, no, it's the other kid.
Yeah, the other kid.
They convinced the poor other kid that since he's the third person to land on go, instead of getting $500, he has to go to jail.
Which is really mean.
Yeah, which is funny because he then moves his piece to jail.
Yeah.
And Chuck's like, "You are so gullible."
Yeah.
Which, do 12-year-olds talk about gullible?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so.
No.
It's been a long time since I was 12.
No,
so
it'd be like, "You're a liar."
Or it'd be like, "You're so stupid."
Yeah.
Or actually, no, because Billy says what I would have said.
What?
Back in the time. Billy says, "You're so retarded."
Yeah.
Which is literally what I would say.
Yeah. Gullible's not a word for 12-year-olds.
Yeah, no.
I didn't know what difficult meant when I was 12.
Yeah, we would have said retarded. And I would have gotten yelled at by Alicia because I used that word because that's just a word that boys my age used when we were younger.
And it's not a word my family uses because I have 2 siblings with mental disabilities. So.
Yeah. But not those ones.
No.
Like, they don't have that mental handicap.
No, they have learning disabilities.
Right. Which so does my brother as well. So, But he also uses the word.
Yeah, well. Have you met your brother?
No, never met him. Never met him. He has dyslexia.
Yeah. So do I.
Yeah. So.
That's why I have to write everything down if I'm going to say it out loud.
Yep. And I don't have any of that. And you can ask Alicia how horrible I am at reading out loud.
That's why I do it for her.
She's heard me, which is crazy because I've had a college reading level since I was in 8th grade.
Yes.
And I read ridiculously huge books really fast.
Yes, he does.
When I read them silently to myself.
Yes.
When I try to read out loud, I literally sound like I have the worst case of dyslexia ever bestowed upon a person in the world.
In which case, I have to read out loud.
Right. The person with actual dyslexia has to read out loud for me because I can't fucking do it. It's insane.
Yep.
But I think it's because I read fast.
Yes.
I train myself to read like sentences ahead.
So you may be dyslexic then.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not because I don't see things backwards or anything like that.
No.
I literally like my eyes and my mind are on 2 different lines.
Okay.
Like my mind is on word here on this line.
Right.
But my eyes are already down reading the next lines.
Oh, okay.
Following up.
See, because if I see a number like 2319, I'll read it as 2913.
Right. See, I don't have any problem with that. It's that I stutter when I read out loud. But like if I public speaking from like memorization,
you're fine.
No problems.
Yeah.
It's just reading for some reason out loud that I can't do it because I skim read.
Yes.
That's literally how I read is I skim read. I get all the pieces.
You like Johnny Five, go woo!
I get all the pieces, but I'm like basically skimming the page.
Yeah, you're Johnny Five.
So it's really hard to read out loud doing that. It's crazy horrible, actually.
It's way too. It's slower than your mind wants.
Yes, because I want to go through it fast because that's how I read.
And that's why you stutter because your brain's here, you're here,
right,
and the stutter
somewhere in between.
Is your computer brain not working fast enough?
Right. Yeah, I'm getting a 404 error.
Yeah, exactly.
Word not found.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, but yeah. And we get some talking during the Monopoly game. Apparently, the team's on a 6-game winning streak now.
Yes.
6-game home winning streak, which is awesome.
Do they normally play 6 games at home like that?
Yeah, teams will usually play anywhere between 6 and 10 games at home.
And then they'll go
in a stretch, and then they'll go on the road for a 6 or 10 game stretch.
Okay.
Yep. Because they like to play. Baseball players really only like to have like 1 day off a week,
right,
to keep in rhythm.
So my question is, when they go away for 6 or 10 games, does Billy bring his homework with him?
I assume so. Well, for
Because
most of the part, it's the summertime.
Okay. All right.
Remember, he didn't take over as manager until the school year was over.
That's right. Okay, so then
later on, when they get to the postseason, school has started.
Right.
So that's why he's doing homework before big games.
Right. Okay. So I do have one more question about him because this just popped up in my head.
Okay.
What are the child labor laws in Michigan?
Well, it's not Michigan.
Missouri.
It's Minnesota.
Minnesota, whatever state it is.
So I guess, right, so most states have a family business exemption
Yes.
for labor laws.
Yes.
Where, like, if your family had a functional, like, your family has a farm, but it's not a functional farm.
Right. If it was a functional farm.
Then
though.
you, like, your parents could use you to milk the cows, muck the pens, all that good shit.
At 4
and
in the
pay you
morning,
for
and
it.
it'd be-
Yeah, at the age of 12, and nobody
Yep.
could say shit about it.
Right.
Because there's a family business exception. Technically speaking, the Minnesota Twins are a family business for the Haywoods because Billy owns the fucking team. So if anybody is in violation of forcing Billy to work, it's technically Billy Haywood.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So sure, Billy Haywood is going to sue Billy Haywood over making him work
Right.
and just pay the money that he wins to Billy Haywood
Right.
for the damages incurred.
Okay. I was just
Yes.
curious.
Yeah, so-
because I know, like.
No, it's a fair question. And I think
Yeah.
if he didn't own the team, then
Right.
there'd be a serious, or
Issue.
if it was somebody, like if his family didn't own the team,
Right.
then it would be an issue. But because he owns the team, I mean, I guess it would fall under the family exception, family business exception
Okay.
for, labor laws.
Okay. Because I wasn't thinking of family labor exceptions.
Right.
Because I was just thinking of, like,
He's working till...
child movie stars, how many hours they're allowed to work in a day.
Right. Well, you think about, like, so you go to, like, a West Coast game, for instance, in Seattle.
Yeah.
So if, like, here on the East Coast, when the Yankees go to Seattle, like, you're up, like, you're up until 1 o'clock in the morning because it's a West Coast game.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, even, like, a late game, if it starts at 7, if it goes extra innings, you could be there at the game until 1 o'clock in the morning. I've seen it happen. I've seen the Yankees play the Baltimore Orioles in a 15-inning bonanza that lasted until 2 o'clock in the morning after it started at 7:30 at night.
Damn.
Yeah. So,
You'd be tired and hungry.
yeah, and then they had to come back and play again the next day. Like,
No, thank
so yeah, I mean, there are, of course, they kind of like just bypass those sort of things in the movie just because that hurts the premise of the movie.
Yeah.
But I still think
But logistically, I was like, wait, that's an interesting question.
you're right. It is interesting, and I think that the family exception actually provides a legal basis for Billy actually doing it. So
Okay.
I think that's actually fine. All right. So the last little bit here, this scene is Mama Haywood is going out on a date.
Is that when he starts getting mad?
Nope, not yet. He's happy about it right now.
Okay.
So Mama Haywood is going out on her first date with Mr. Lou.
Yep.
So Lou shows up right at the end of the Monopoly game.
Yep.
And so the boys went out to meet him.
Yeah.
Chuck and the other kid. I'm going to call him Larry.
I wanted to call him Larry too, but I was like, that's not his name.
All right, so Chuck and Larry run out along with Billy.
Yep.
Lou greets Billy. Hey, Skip.
Yep.
Skipper. That's
Yeah.
what you call the manager.
Captain. Yeah.
And then he calls the other two. Oh, no, it's the Bash Bros.
Yeah.
So at this time, the Bash Bros were, do you have any idea?
No.
That was Mark McGuire and Jose Canseco, who were two incredible home run hitters for the Oakland A's at the time.
Okay.
They were known as the Bash Bros.
Okay.
So that's why Lou's calling them the Bash Bros.
Okay.
Ah!
You got something in your beard.
Yeah, probably. I feel better now. Good. Okay.
Got it all out of your system?
Yeah, I think so. All right. So, next thing we do is the airport on the way out of town
Yep.
for the first road trip.
Yes.
First thing we get is Mickey complaining to his agent that his agent bought him a Chinese restaurant.
No. Bought him a
Complaining
pizza.
about a pizza place when he likes Chinese food instead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So his agent bought him a pizza place for him to own?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So
It's-
his agent controls his money?
Yes, we'll help him with his money. Yeah.
Okay.
It's common for ball players to own restaurants. When
Okay.
Don Manning was playing, he owned a restaurant back in Evansville, Indiana, where he grew up and lived.
Okay.
So he owned a restaurant there while he was still playing for the Yankees. So it's actually quite common investment restaurants are for ball players because they can use their celebrity to enhance the restaurant and bring people into it. Okay. Same reason why John Bon Jovi owns a restaurant too. Okay. And then we have Billy talking to Mac about spitters.
Yes.
Did you know what they were talking about?
Some kind of ball.
Well, so spitter is using moisture on the ball to get extra grip.
Which is not legal,
to make it break more. Right, it's not legal. To make it break more. Okay. And pitchers have done everything from, putting like pine tar or Vaseline like on the brim of their hat, so when they go like this, they tip the cap and they get a little bit on the hand, and that way
they can get
a better grip on the ball.
But he starts talking about sandpaper here and gets distracted. So what's
okay?
So what's going on here?
All right,
because you laughed.
Okay, right. So because the spitter, okay. But then he says now a little bit of sandpaper or whatever, because then you can create yourself a rough spot on the ball, which will also then allow you to grip it better.
Right. But you have to keep that on you because it's not the same ball the whole game.
Right. So you leave it in like your back pocket or something, or you have it like taped to a finger, like on your non-pitching hand, and you just like on your thumb, for instance, that's usually in your glove, and you just rub the ball with it on your finger type of thing. If you remember the scene in Major League where there's the old guy pitcher who smokes while he's pitching. Yeah. And in the middle of a game, they're talking about him doctoring the ball, or no, it's not. It's not that. It's Naked Gun.
Okay, I haven't seen it.
Yes, you have. With the full body condoms.
I don't remember.
Okay, well, Lieutenant Frank Drebin, the guy from Airplane.
Okay.
But anyway, I showed you the movie Naked Gun. Well, in the second one, it revolves around a baseball game.
Okay.
And there's a pitcher in the baseball game on that one who's like. He's out there. He starts off the game with sandpaper to doctor the ball. Mm-hmm. And then he moves to like a full hand of sandpaper. And by the end of the game, he's got like a fucking power sander. Yeah. Zipping the ball with the power sander, putting it back and throwing it. And that's why I laughed at that scene. Because it just reminded me of that scene from Naked Gun 2.5. Okay. Which then also reminds me of the umpiring that Frank Drebin does in that when he calls himself Enrico Palazzo. It's so good. You got to watch that one. Because this is technically, I'm going to call it a sports movie because it all revolves around a baseball game. Okay. So we might have to watch that one for the podcast.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah. So it's good stuff.
Okay.
But that's why I laughed at that one. Because of the doctoring the ball and the joke from the Naked Gun.
Okay.
But they're interrupted by who?
What's his name? Blackout.
Yeah, Blackout comes up. And remember, like, days ago, Billy had mentioned to him at practice that his mechanics were off a little bit. And he was dropping his shoulder. Yeah. And that's why he wasn't pitching correct.
That was when the first manager yelled at him.
Correct.
So he's like, I just wanted to let you know I watched the videos and basically you're not a moron.
What I'm saying is you're not a rat boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the closest thing to an apology that boy's gonna get.
From that guy, yeah, exactly. So then he just like fist bops him on the shoulder and walks away. Which, to be honest, right, I mean, he's treating him like an adult, like one of the guys. So, like, literally, that's probably as good as you're going to get from him. And honestly, that's as good as you could get from pretty much anybody. Yeah. Treating you like an equal.
Yeah.
So,
big
awesome.
punch on the shoulder.
Yeah, that's a dude thing. So, that's a bro thing. So, that's good.
Yeah.
That is a total sign of affection. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Okay.
And then we get to the jokes in the airplane, or in the airport.
No, there was no joke in the airport.
There was no horse joke?
No, that comes later. Okay. The next thing we get is Mac, Arthur, and Billy are having like fancy dinner at the hotel, remember? Okay. And the two older guys, Mac and Arthur, are talking about his investments in Venezuelan oil.
Yeah.
And then
I remember, because I was like, wait, they could invest in oil like that?
Yeah, and Venezuela has one of the largest. Actually, I think it is the largest underground oil reserve in the world. Because he was talking about
Colombian oil, and I was
Colombia, yeah, I think they have like one of the largest underground oil reserves in the world, like untapped at that point.
Wow.
But the maitre d' comes over and says that there's a problem with some of the ball-playing gentlemen up in room 515 or whatever it is.
Something.
And Mac gets up to go take care of it. But Billy says, no, I got it. Because he's
bored as...
he's bored, exactly. But also, this dinner does not look like something a 12-year-old wants to eat. Like, it's like...
steak and potatoes and some kind of veggie. And
bring me some fucking chicken strips, some waffle fries... some cornbread and some fucking something like tasty, like some watermelon.
Yeah.
Like that's a meal I can get down with. I'm not a steak person, you know that. Yeah, I can cook a killer steak, but I don't like steak.
Yeah. He makes all my food for me.
I definitely do all your barbecuing for you.
Yes, absolutely. I don't touch it.
But so Billy goes up to see what the problem is.
That's no problem.
Ostensibly.
It's not a problem.
Yeah. So Billy then joins up with Bowers and Jerry and the guy who will get the game tying or the game winning double in the last game of the season before the play-in game, it's the tying double in the final game against the Mariners. That's the guy.
Yeah, and then there's one other guy because there was the kid.
And 3 guys.
Oh, I was
Bowers, Jerry, and the other guy.
I was thinking the other black guy was in there, too.
No.
No, he was outside.
Yeah. Well, he was the first one that they tried to hit with a water balloon and missed.
Yes.
So Billy just joins them in dropping water balloons. And what they're doing is they're dropping water balloons trying to drop them on their teammates.
Out the window.
As they go to, like, clubs or whatever.
Yeah.
And so they just miss one guy by, like, a foot to the side. Billy and Bowers says you need to account for the windage.
Yes.
Because Bowers is... amazing.
Yes. He sounds like an idiot, but he's actually very smart. He's like a hippie dude.
Idiot savant.
Yeah.
He reads Sun Tzu.
Yeah.
He has a rather racist but hilarious joke later on about the Apache Nation.
Yes, he does.
Which is fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
But
I laughed at that.
Yeah. So. It was funny. Because it wasn't offensive.
No, absolutely
It was just
not.
funny.
Yeah.
It was not, but today people would get all in a huff and puff about it.
I didn't.
A lot of people would.
Yeah.
Probably no Native Americans, mostly upper income white people, mostly would have gotten into
whose ancestors destroyed the Native Americans.
Right, exactly. Yeah, they're the ones who would get up in arms about it.
Right.
So, take that for what it is.
Yeah.
But, so Billy learns that he needs to correct for the windage.
Yeah, so he has to go 3 feet to the right.
Yeah, and so McGreevy now comes out.
Yeah.
And
he's on a cell phone.
Yeah, and Jerry goes, "Oh, it's too easy." Look at how big his head is.
Yeah, exactly.
So Billy hangs the balloon out, and Bowers says, 3 feet give it 3 feet to the left for windage.
I thought it was to the right.
Oh, but whichever. 3 feet to one direction for the windage, and Billy drops it.
Yep. And
it's a home run. Yeah. Right on McGreevy's head. Yeah. And he just looks up, and he knows who, he just yells up, "Bowers!" Knows exactly who it is. Yeah. And then we cut right to the guys turning around from just nearly McGreevy.
Giving high fives
and Arthur and Mac open the door to the room.
Yeah. And
just look at the 4 of them.
Yeah. One's got water all down his shirt.
I assume from filling the water balloons. And they've literally got a bucket of water balloons on all the bed waiting.
Yeah.
And Mac and Arthur look at them, shake their head, and just shut the door and walk away.
Yeah. They're like, let them do what they're doing.
Yeah. So after that, then we go to Billy in his room.
Yeah, he found the good channels.
He found the Spice Channel.
Yeah.
I want to know if this is a real movie that needs to be seen. Night Nurses from Jersey.
Yeah.
They're off the turnpike and looking for love.
Yeah. 11 times in 3 days.
11 times in 3 days. The best part is he watches it so many times that first night that he's asleep throughout the entire next game the next day.
Yes. And all the teammates know what he was doing.
Yeah, because Bowers goes, another victim of the Night Nurses from Jersey. And it's funny because he calls Chuck.
Yeah.
when he's watching it, and he's like, "Yeah, you just you click on it, and they send it right to your room."
Yeah, and nobody ever knows.
Yep. And then it's funny because he's like talking to Chuck, and then he's like, "Oh wait, I gotta go. They're getting a new patient." Oh my god, it's so funny and so true, so true. Boys will be boys.
Yep.
And so yeah, he misses the entire next new game.
He wakes up at some point, says, "Good job, guys," and claps his hands and
Yep,
goes
they
back
turn
to
a,
sleep.
they turn a double play.
Yep.
And he says congratulations, and then goes right back to sleep. Now this game is at Fenway Park,
Yep.
which is in Boston. Boston.
Yep.
With the giant green monster.
Yep.
So they're playing the Red Sox. And that's all they win. They win the game. That's all we really see is just Billy passed out
Yeah.
for the entire game.
Yep.
Then we move on to New York. And this is where we get the cowboy joke.
Yes.
In New York. They come out, they're at the hotel in New York now.
Yeah.
And first thing that happens is McGreevy is sitting in a chair, and three of the guys, Bowers, somebody else, and another one of the guys. Is it Jerry again?
I think it's
I
Jerry.
think it's the same three from the water balloon, are talking about pigs and wives.
Yeah.
And then as they break up, McGreevy says, "Don't you ever talk about anything important?" And Bowers goes up to him, slaps him on the shoulder, and says, "Like money?"
Yeah.
And then walks away.
Yeah.
I love Bowers. He's so funny.
Yeah.
But then he gives as he's leaving, he goes over to Mac and gives him what do you call him? What are they called? Like a puzzle joke or whatever they call him.
Oh, the
So here it is.
Yeah.
It's a cowboy rides into town on Friday, stays for 3 days, and leaves on Friday. How did he do it?
yeah. I knew this one.
It's an easy one,
Yeah.
but we're not to the answer yet.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for the answer
First
later
time
on.
I saw the movie, I knew the answer.
Yeah, it's not a hard one to figure out, really.
It's not.
But Mac never seems to get it. Like, he
No.
can't get it throughout the entire movie.
Right.
Like, it has to be explained to him at the end.
Yes.
But, which is part of the funniness of it.
Yeah.
Because Mac's like a super smart guy, except he can't figure out this joke.
Yes.
Which is funny. Riddle. It's a riddle.
Yes, that's it.
That's the word. All right. So, now we're at Yankee Stadium.
Yep.
The original Yankee Stadium. The one that's no longer there.
What's there now?
A new stadium across the street and a parking lot where the old stadium was.
Oh, okay.
Heartbreaking.
Why? What was wrong with the first one?
It was old. It was built in the 19 teens.
Okay, then yeah.
So they got a new stadium, but I mean, nothing will ever compare to the atmosphere of the original Yankee Stadium.
No.
No. I've been there for games. It's amazing. I haven't been to the new stadium yet.
I don't think I ever will.
I might drag you to one at some point.
Oh, will you?
Like 5 years from now when COVID's gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, I went to my first game when I was 8
Okay.
at Yankee Stadium.
It's an expensive game.
Back then it wasn't that bad.
Right.
It was a lot cheaper back because that was 89.
Right.
So it was a lot cheaper back then.
I wasn't even alive yet.
But funny part is we had two drunk, big, huge, fat drunk guys from like 4 rows up get so drunk that they stood up and fell over and tumbled down 4 rows and landed on top of us.
Oh my god.
Yep. It was my dad, me, my brother, my friend Sean, and my brother's friend Matt. We all went down. We took the van down to Yankee Stadium in the Bronx.
And they fell on all of you.
Yep.
Lovely.
Yep. And it was, okay, so be prepared for my memory again.
Okay.
It was baseball card night. So everybody who went got a pack of current year Yankees cards,
Okay.
including, highlights. Don Mattingly, of course.
Okay.
Bernie Williams,
Okay.
of course. Mike Stanley, of course. Randy Velarde, of course. At shortstop, Alvaro Espinoza. At second base, Steve Sachs. Let's see. In the outfield, oh man, who was out there? Jim Balboni was another outfielder.
Keep going.
Oh man, pitchers. I don't remember who pitched that day. I do not remember who pitched that day. The Yankees didn't have a lot of great pitchers back then in the late 80s, early 90s. Jimmy Abbott was part of the team at that point. I do know who they played that day.
Who'd they play?
The Toronto Blue Jays.
Can you name who played for them that year?
Some players, probably, if I sat around and thought about it, yes, actually, I probably could. Joe Carter absolutely played for the Toronto Blue Jays at that point.
Okay.
But yes, so I can. Let's see, Kevin Moss was probably on the team at the Yankees at that point. Okay. And I think the Yankees lost 9-2.
Ouch.
9-2 or 7-2.
Ouch.
Yeah. That's okay. This is my birthday present, and I got to go see a Yankees game, so I was super excited anyway.
Your brother got to go with you to your birthday game?
Well, my dad's not going to take one of us to a Yankees game and not the other one. Because we live 4 hours away from the city, so it's a fucking trip to go to a game, so.
Right.
So we all went.
There you go.
My mom stayed home with my sister, and the boys all went down to the baseball game. But anyway, we do see a real Yankee from the time of this movie in New York. Paul O'Neill, number 21, right fielder.
Right.
Former Cincinnati Red.
Okay.
Yankee great. Multiple World Series rings.
Okay.
Yep. And this is where Billy becomes the master manipulator.
Okay.
Do you remember the scene with McGreevy?
Yes.
All right.
I did like this scene.
So McGreevy is still pissed about Billy being the manager. And he's the starting pitcher.
Yes.
The only starting pitcher we see for the team, except for Wedman in one game.
Right.
But so McGreevy, when Paul O'Neill comes up, they have a scouting report for O'Neill. They know what pitches he likes to hit, so they know how to pitch him to not give him pitches he likes to hit.
Right.
So it's low and away with off-speed stuff.
Right.
McGreevy ignores the scouting report and gives him a nice fastball low and inside, which, if you know Paul O'Neill, is right in his wheelhouse.
Right.
He crushes those into the upper decks in that short porch in right field at Yankee Stadium. And he gets a hold of one.
Yeah.
Gives it a ride. But the right fielder makes an amazing leaping catch to rob him of a double, or maybe even a triple, off of that hit.
Right.
And literally knocks himself the fuck out. Mm-hmm. So, when he comes back in, Mac is pissed at McGreevy. And McGreevy says, fine, if you're that pissed, trade me.
Yeah.
And Mac's like, that's exactly what we're going to do.
And Billy's like, no.
Yep, Billy has other ideas.
Billy's like, that's exactly what he wants.
Yep.
We're not going to trade him. And so he goes, fine, then I'll sit out the rest of the year. And he's like,
nope.
No, we're not going to do that either. You're going to play. And he goes, well, maybe I'll forget how to play. And Billy goes, all right, go ahead. And then he turns to Mac and he's like, hey, Mac, what's the going rate for a free agent who forgot how to do his job?
Yeah, exactly. So McGreevy's a free agent at the end of the year, which, if you don't know baseball, means that at the end of the season, he can sign with any team.
Because his contract is up. So
he could re-sign with the Twins, or he could sign with any other team.
Yep.
So this is where players get big bucks.
Yep.
But, as Billy correctly points out, what's the going rate on the market for an absent-minded pitcher who can't get anybody out, which is what McGreevy is threatening to be.
Yes.
And, of course, the answer to that is $0.
Yeah.
You just don't sign a contract with anybody and you're done. So McGreevy grudgingly goes back out and,
does his fucking job.
Yeah, throws a no-hitter the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Strikes out everybody.
Yeah, the commentator's like, what's gotten into McGreevy?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
And I love it because Mac just gives Billy a little pat on the shoulder, laughs at him, and walks away.
Yeah.
And Billy is so happy with himself.
Yeah. He did good.
He did good. But just the smug look on his face is hilarious.
Yeah.
He is so overly happy with himself at this point. It's so good. So funny. And then the headline. I love the headline of the paper just because I love sports headlines on papers.
Yeah.
So there's the one for this movie, for this game is Billy treats Yanks or Bombers to twin killing.
Yep.
Because it's a 2-game series and they're the Twins.
Yep.
So it's a twin killing.
Yep.
One of my favorite all-time sports headlines was when Chuck Knobloch
real life or movie?
Real life.
Okay.
Came over from the Minnesota Twins to become a New York Yankee. And in a postseason game, completely bumbled a play at second base that allowed a winning run to score. Mm-hmm. And his name was Knobloch.
Okay.
Knobloch.
Yep.
The next morning, the New York Post, which has the best sports headlines in the world.
Yeah.
Big, huge picture of Chuck Knobloch. and his name was spelled Knoblauch, Knobloch. So the paper the next morning, it says Blockhead, Blauch, head, Blockhead. It was absolutely the most amazing.
That's funny.
The most amazing sports headline I had ever seen in a newspaper.
Let me see it.
Yeah, I gotta see if I can find it. Yeah, right here.
Yep.
Blockhead.
That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah, it was so good.
Because he fumbled a ball?
Yep. See, Chuck's brain lock cost Yanks game 2.
Oh my gosh.
Because he literally, a player was like they could have turned the play and got it out of the inning. Mm-hmm. But because he just, completely forgot what he was doing and didn't get anybody out when the ball hit right to him, the inning continues and the team scores.
Right.
So, yeah. So that led to the Blockhead headline, which is fucking great.
All right.
One of my favorite sports headlines of all time. And it has to do with the Twins, so it's relevant to this movie.
Okay.
Because he came to the Yankees from the Twins.
Did he?
Yes. All right. So after that, after the Twin killing at Yankee Stadium, we head home.
Yep.
And even in my notes, this is how bad it is with Billy's friends. Even in my notes, it says, Chuck and what's his name, plus new friend Lowell.
All right. We never did get his name, did we?
Apparently not. Oh, I'm so bad. So bad.
Don't you have the cast up?
Yeah, I do, but I didn't look it up because I don't know his name, so I don't know which guy to look up.
Right.
Because the cast is 4 miles long.
Right.
But anyway, so they come over and they have their new friend Lowell with them.
Right.
And Billy's mom
is answering the phone.
Right. Somebody wants to do Billy's life story. I'm assuming as a movie.
Lifetime, probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
Or either that or 60 Minutes.
Right.
And she says, "No, you don't have permission." They say, "Fine, we'll do it unauthorized." And she's like, "Fine, do it unauthorized." And then she gives Chuck and them Billy's mail to take up to him.
3 cases.
3 boxes full of mail.
Now, I used to do tax prep for a temp agency back when I was 19, and I had no idea what I was doing with my life.
Right.
So 4 times a year I'd go and I'd get these cases full of mail with all the tax forms, and I had to open them and sort them and phone the tax forms and separate them. Oh, I kid you not. These things are heavy when they're full with just basic envelopes with forms and checks in them.
Yep, absolutely.
There can be just these ones that they showed can have 400 pieces of them.
Oh, easily. And they just stack them on poor Lowell.
Yes.
And make him carry them upstairs.
Yes.
And then, so then we get, after that little scene, they introduce Lowell to Billy.
Yep.
And then we go to practice.
Yes.
And at batting practice, Jerry is struggling.
Yep.
And Mac brings up the fact that it might be time to let Jerry go.
Yes.
Because they're in a pennant race. They need somebody who can hit, which starts to weigh on Billy because Jerry is his favorite player and always has been. And he's good friends with Jerry.
Yes.
Jerry's the one who taught him how to hit.
Yes.
As a kid. So, he has severe devotion to Jerry.
Yep. He's always been his favorite.
Right, so he's starting to feel down, and even after practice is done, Billy's just kind of moping around the batting cage.
Yeah.
So Matt comes up to him and invites him to have lunch with him and Reggie Jackson.
Yes.
So, and now Billy had made plans to go fishing with his friends.
Yep.
But, so we get a cut of them showing up at Billy's house, riding their bikes, but Billy's nowhere to be found.
Yes.
But Billy does go and have lunch with Mac and Reggie Jackson. Now, Reggie Jackson is Mr. October.
Yes.
Yes. Legendary ball player. A's, Yankees, incredible home run records in World Series play, earning him the name Mr. October, because that's when the World Series used to be played, was in October. Now it's played in fucking November, which is why Jeter is Mr. November.
Joey.
All right, so His mom chastises him for standing up his friends when he was supposed to go fishing.
Oh, yeah. Because his friend... No, they bring the mail up and he's on the phone.
And they make plans.
They make plans.
And then he stands him up because he has lunch with Mac
right, yes.
and Reggie Jackson.
Yep.
So she chastises him for that.
And then she also scolds him because she got the bill.
For his room.
Yes.
Which has 11 times count of naughty nurses from Jersey.
Yeah, and I don't even want to know what the food service bill is.
Well, again, it doesn't matter.
Right.
He's a millionaire.
Right.
Multi-hundred millionaire. So,
but, like, I don't want to see it. But
right. Well, and of course, he wouldn't have to pay it anyway.
Right.
The organization will pay it. So,
but 11...
Right, that's right.
That's
I mean, again, he's a 12-year-old boy.
Yep.
Like, imagine you're a 12-year-old boy who just got the internet.
Yeah.
Oh my God, there's boobs everywhere on the internet. I'm finding all of the boobs.
So what does he do? He blames it on Bowers.
Bowers made me do it. I'll trade him if you tell me to.
Yeah.
And she just looks at him, gives him the mom look.
Yeah.
And of course, it's done at that point.
Yeah.
I won't watch those movies again.
Yeah. Sure. Can you imagine if he had really traded Bowers?
Like if his mom had let him push it that far?
Yeah. Yeah.
But, I mean, you can't defeat the mom look.
No, but you can't trade Bowers either.
No, because he's Bowers. He's fucking Bowers. All right, so next we have a game, and this is kind of the beginning of the end, or the beginning of the downturn, really.
Yes.
So Jerry's up to bat.
Yep.
And he gets a seeing eye single, which is basically like this little thing that just manages to get between the players.
Yep.
Like it's not particularly well hit.
Yep.
It just happens to squeak through.
Yep.
And Billy's like super excited. See, Mac, look at that. Look at that.
Yeah.
That could be the beginning of it. And Max correctly like, doesn't it say something that you're this excited about a seeing eye single from Jerry? And Billy's like, but so they are playing the Texas Rangers.
Yep.
So we had Mark Palmero on first. Bam. Yep. And we had Ivan Pudge Rodriguez behind the plate.
Okay.
Also, at this point, a future Yankee.
Okay.
A lot of players at this point were future Yankees.
Right. Everyone wants to be a Yankee.
Literally.
Unless they want to be a Red Sox.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Or Met. There's a few other teams that you would, if you're a super fan of, you wouldn't want to be a Yankee, but a lot of players do want to be Yankees.
Yeah. Good money.
Good money. Yankees are willing to pay.
Yep.
And you've got a really good chance of being on a world championship team.
Right.
Or at least a contender to be a world championship team. So, until
everyone's a contender until they're not.
Everyone's a contender until the Astros cheat.
Yes.
Fuckers.
Yes.
Trash can pieces of shit.
Are they from the same state as the team that deflated the football?
No. So that is the Patriots. That is in Massachusetts.
Yep, that's right.
The Astros are from Houston.
Okay.
How
did they cheat again?
So they had a guy in just inside the tunnel of their dugout.
Yep.
And they had a camera in center field that could see the signs that the catcher puts down.
Okay.
And so essentially most pitchers will have 3 pitches. Mm-hmm. So you got, 1 for your fastball, 2 for your second best pitch, which for a lot of players is their curveball, and then 3 slider, changeup, whatever their third pitch is. So this guy would bang on a trash can the number of 1, 2, 3, so the hitters would know what was coming.
That's horrible.
Yeah. And they've been doing this for 2 years.
How is it just now being found out?
Because somebody finally talked.
Oh my God.
And that's why that girl that used to be the ESPN Sunday Night girl with Alex Rodriguez, that's why she lost her job, is because she blamed the players who came forward for coming forward about the scandal, on Twitter. So MLB's like, yeah, you're gone, bye.
Oh my God.
Now, some people say it went even further than just the trash can. Some people say that they got so advanced with it this past year that they actually had some of the players who wanted to take part would wear little diodes taped to their skin
that would vibrate,
that would buzz 1, 2,
I think I remember
3.
hearing something about that because someone wanted to take his jersey off.
So this is where we get into Altuve, Jose Altuve.
Okay.
Who was the MLB Rookie of the Year.
Okay.
Beat out Aaron Judge very closely for Rookie of the Year. And supposedly he was part of this scheme.
Right.
Now, they found video footage of Altuve with what looks like a little bump under his jersey, just right by his right clavicle.
Right.
He says that he was never part of it, but you can clearly see in a game-winning game-winning home run that he hit, as he's approaching home plate, his teammates are going to bump into him, rip his jersey off, and he holds his jersey on, don't take it off.
I saw that clip.
Right, and everybody's like, well, what the if there's nothing to hide, what's the point? And he goes, look, I'm a very shy person. I don't like to show myself off publicly.
And if his teammates knew him, they wouldn't do that.
So, it gets even better than that because then, of course, it's the age of the internet.
Right.
Everybody has an Instagram, including Jose Altuve.
Right.
And people went through his Instagram and found, 1,000 fucking topless shots of Altuve hanging out in various places with his family and shit with no shirt on. Mr. I'm too shy to have my shirt off for anybody to see me. 1,000 pictures of him with his shirt off on his own Instagram.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I do remember seeing the video of him saying, no, don't pull the shirt.
And by the way, the series that they won over the Yankees is literally what put him over the top of Judge for Rookie of the Year.
So he cheated to get Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, so Judge should have had it.
Poor Judge.
Yeah.
I do like Judge.
You do like Aaron Judge, yes.
I do.
But yeah, so that's the story of the cheating. And my favorite comeback to the story of the cheating is as soon as the story broke with the trash can, the Staten Island Yankees, which are the single A affiliate for the New York Yankees, which still pisses me off because they used to be in Oneonta, real close to where we are, where we could go watch the Yankees play. That's neither here nor there right now. Staten Island Yankees had a game. It's not going to get played this year, obviously, because of COVID. But they had a game. They had a series scheduled with the single A affiliate for the Astros this spring, and so they quickly, within days of the scandal being revealed, they launched Trash Can Night, the first game against the Astros single A team, where the Yankees were giving away a miniature Yankees trash can.
That's tact. That's funny.
The Yankees are amazing.
Did they make sure there were no trash cans in the dugout?
Well, they didn't get to play the game.
That's true.
But it was trash can night, so they were going to give out everybody a little. The first 500 fans were going to get a little trash can, a mini Yankees trash can, the night that they were playing the Astros. Hilarious.
That's funny.
But yeah, so I was looking forward to that one,
right?
Because Gabe wanted to go down, and I'd been like, oh yeah, we're going to go to trash can night. Definitely go to trash can night. But yeah, so this is where we have to say bye-bye to Jerry. So this is a hard scene.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about this scene and then take a break because this is harsh.
Yeah.
So Billy calls Jerry into his
office.
Yep.
Because he doesn't want Mac to do it. He wants to do it.
Right. So he fumbles around firing Jerry, which I understand. He's a 12-year-old kid.
12-year-old kid, and Jerry's his favorite.
Yeah, Jerry's literally his idol. For great reasons.
Yes.
He was a former league batting champion. He's getting towards the end of his career, so he's not hitting as well. He's not as quick as he used to be. So you hate to see players in decline like that, especially former great players.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Billy fires him, and Jerry is rightly upset about it, but Billy makes the mistake, the honest 12-year-old kid mistake of, how do you think I feel? Like, you're my favorite player. Mm-hmm. I had a friend who offered me, a Wade Boggs and a Roger Clemens card for you, and I wouldn't do it.
Right.
And Jerry, gets right up in his face and is like, I'm supposed to tell my wife that I lost my job, but it's okay because a 12-year-old likes my baseball card?
Yeah.
And Billy's like,
Yeah.
And so Jerry storms out and says, I'm not done. I'm going to catch on with another team, and I'm going to come back and beat you.
No, I'm going to throw it in your face.
Yeah. That's right.
And Billy says, I really hope you do.
Right, because he does. He wants good things for Jerry.
Yeah.
And I honestly hope Jerry found another team and had a great season.
Yeah.
Great end of the season. And maybe a great next season as well.
Yeah.
Oh, no, he doesn't do that because he comes back the next season as the batting coach.
Yes.
As the bench coach, yeah. So this is where the downturn really starts into high gear. Mm-hmm. So let's take a quick break again, and then we'll come back. We'll get the down, and then we'll head back up to the climax and the final scene of the movie.
Okay.
All right. After Billy fires Jerry, we kind of go through a downturn.
Guess it's not downstairs.
Whatever. I don't care.
Yes.
Billy goes through a downturn.
Yeah, he kind of gets depressed.
Right, which is understandable. I mean, he just fired his favorite player.
Yes.
He's under more stress than any 12-year-old really should be.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
Without being old enough to have had life experiences to help understand how to deal with that pressure.
Yep.
So, needless to say, playing for the Twins no longer is fun.
No, because he's had to do the not fun part now, so now the whole thing's no longer fun.
For him, it's not fun for anybody else on the team, so they stop winning.
Yes.
Of course, because that's how it works.
Yep.
If you're not having fun, you're not winning. We come to one of my favorite scenes where Lou and Mom are watching or Netflixing and chilling.
Yeah.
On the couch.
Yeah.
And Billy comes out and gets upset.
Yes.
So at first he was more than happy to have Lou banging his mom.
Yeah.
Now not so much.
Yeah.
And that's again because he's just in a pissy mood about everything.
Yes.
Because he's a teenager, and teenagers often get in pissy moods about everything.
Yes.
So his mom reminds him of his home game curfew.
Yeah.
Which he says, I'm up later than that all the time on the road. And she's like, I don't give a fuck, kid.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
You're at home now, so you're going to follow the house rules.
Yep. So he decides that if he has to have a curfew, so does Lou.
So does yeah.
Not everybody else on the team, just Lou. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he gives Lou, what was it?
11:30.
Yeah, his is 11, so Lou's now is 11:30.
Yeah.
Yep. The next game, we get some kind of a weird call.
Okay.
With the umpire, and Billy swears up a storm at the guy.
Oh, yeah, the horn's blaring, so we can't actually hear the kid yell.
Right, yeah. We got a couple more major leaguers appearing in this episode, Bo Jackson and Danny Tartable. So Mom asks Billy what he said, and
because Billy has been kicked off the field now.
Yep. And so the umpire goes and tells Billy's mom.
Tattletales. You want to know what he said? I'll tell you what he said, and more horn blaring.
What a bitch of an umpire. Seriously.
That was very childish, but it was funny for the movie.
It was funny, but what a bitch of an umpire. Like, seriously. But yeah, so the league doesn't do anything to Billy because managers get thrown out all the time, and they swear at umps all the time. Doesn't matter. But Mom
grounds him.
Doesn't ground him. She suspends him for a game.
Yes.
So he's not allowed to manage for a game.
Yeah.
And we get this weird
press conference
with Billy.
Yeah.
Where he refers to himself as a Bill Haywood.
Yes. And he talks in the third person.
Yeah.
And he's monotone, he's bored, he's pissed, he's Bill Haywood.
Yep. But to avoid further punishment, he will accept his mom's 1-game suspension.
Yes.
So, like, the ludicrous factor is just going off the charts at this point.
Yeah.
Too funny. We get to a practice. Billy's being interviewed by Chris Berman.
Yep.
Who you said you recognized his voice.
I do recognize his voice.
That would be from all the times you've heard me watching sports or Sports Center, and you don't actually watch it, but you hear the voices. Right. So you've heard Chris Berman's voice.
Okay.
Yes.
So he's a real
guy. Yeah, a real ESPN personality. Yep, Chris Berman.
Okay. And Billy here is short-tempered.
I don't even know about short-tempered. He just, like, doesn't really want to be interviewed, right? Because he doesn't yell at him or anything. He's like, is that even a question, Chris?
Right, but, like, I think he's short-tempered because, like, he's frustrated with the whole thing, and then he gets up and walks away.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, he doesn't have the pace for this.
And I just love, like, this is classic Chris Berman, too, because he's like, and yet the stucco. This is Chris Berman. Chris Berman played Chris Berman to a T. And whoever wrote Chris Berman's lines, whether it was himself or the writers, they did a fantastic job of Chris Bermaning this section.
Right. And what was it he said about the stucco?
That he is cracking like a cheap stucco.
Oh, yeah.
And Billy's like, is that even a question, Chris?
Yeah.
And he's like, and yet the stucco.
Well, the whole thing does go back to Gary being fired.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely it does. That and pressure. So then we get Billy trying to make amends with his mom, and he gets her a gorgeous birthday present.
Yeah, the brooch.
Yep, beautiful brooch. And he wants to take her out to dinner.
For her birthday.
For
he
her
wants
birthday.
to make her dinner.
Make
His
her-
favorite spaghetti and meatballs.
Yes.
Yep.
Classic, of course.
Yes.
He wants to cook her dinner for her birthday. Unfortunately,
She's already got Lou.
oh, Lou.
Yeah.
This fucking guy, Lou.
I think Lou's great.
Lou is my favorite character in the entire movie.
Yes.
I love Lou. Lou is great.
Yeah. I think he became my favorite with the first scene with his feet in the air and his ass in the air.
No, his feet weren't even in the air. His feet were back onto the ground
His
behind
feet were
him.
on his hands. Yeah, and he was stretching his lower back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's when I fell in love with Lou.
Well, I think that's when Billy's mom fell in love with Lou, too.
Probably.
Let's see. So the whole thing is also having an effect on Lou because we get to a game where Lou is now 0 for 11.
Yes.
That's batting. So he's got 0 hits in his last 11 at bats.
Yes.
Which is not good. That's a bad slump. That's a pretty bad slump. And I think it has a lot to do with dating Billy's mom while playing for Billy while Billy is angry about things that he's had to do.
Yeah.
And so I think the whole thing is having a negative impact on
Just everyone
Lou.
as a whole.
Right, exactly. Plus, sometimes people just have slumps. Yeah. It happens, even to the best. And, Lou's an all-star, but, all-stars don't get a hit every time they go to bat.
Right.
So, and it's not like he's hitting bad either. He's in the position where everything is kind of going against him.
Yeah.
Right? Because, the out that we see, he really rips a shot.
Yeah.
It just happens to be right at an outfielder. It was a great line drive that if it had been 25 feet to the left or the right, would have been a double.
Right.
But it was right at the guy. Yeah. So, sometimes they just don't fall.
Yeah.
And this is where Billy benches Lou.
Yeah.
And tells him that maybe if you concentrate on baseball, you'll hit better.
That's a dick on Billy's part.
Maybe if you concentrate on hitting the ball a little more than you concentrate on hitting my mom, you'll actually play baseball better.
Yeah, something like that.
This is basically what Billy is saying.
That is basically what Billy's saying.
Smash the ball, not my mom.
Yep.
Absolutely. So, and then this really starts. This is where things really spiral. But we're almost into the light.
Yeah. Who's the player that is playing with the injury?
Oh, what's his name? It's not Mickey. It's 1 second. I'm gonna look that up.
Because that also happened this game.
Yeah. All right. So that's Lonnie.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. So Lonnie grounds out, but he doesn't hustle onto first base.
Right, and you can tell by the way he moves when he swings that there's something wrong.
He's hurting.
Now, the first time I watched it, I didn't see it, but the way he twists.
Yeah.
So he walks off angry, and Billy finds him $500.
Yeah, and flips his lid on him.
Yep, and tells him next time he misses, he's going to be fined again.
Yeah, and that was for everybody else in the team.
Yeah. Every time you miss a ball, you're going to be fined $500.
Yep. Every time you strike out, every time you don't hustle, every time you don't catch a ball, $500 fine.
Yeah.
Which,
and the team is just sitting there like, everyone's pissed. There's no fun.
Yep.
They're tired of shit.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So the next thing we do is we head to Chicago.
Yes.
And first thing they do is lose to the White Sox.
Yep.
At Old Comiskey Park.
Yep.
In downtown Chicago.
No, they're playing 2 games here, right?
Playing at least 2, yeah.
Okay.
We see 2. It's probably 3 because they usually play 3-game series.
Okay.
But we see 2 of them.
All right.
No, this is where he screams at Lonnie after this loss.
Oh, okay.
So just move that discussion to right here.
Yeah.
You get the point. Same idea. Basically, this is, I have, my note here is Dickhead Bill enters the game.
Yeah. The only thing he's not doing is spitting sunflower seeds.
Right. Which maybe he'll start that sometime. Who knows?
Who knows?
We don't see every game, so it's possible. And then I love the announcer as they're losing. And one question remains. Where is Lou Collins?
Yeah.
As he's just sitting on the bench.
The camera pans to him. He's got his coat on, his jacket on, and he's just staring at Billy.
Staring at Billy and shrugging.
Yep.
Yeah. Where is Lou? Yep. And then we get Billy has lunch with Arthur before the next game. The next morning, he has breakfast with him.
Yeah.
And Billy's like, I'm tired of these reporters asking me why Lou isn't starting. Blah 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 blah. And Arthur's like, why isn't Lou starting?
He legit has no idea why.
Right.
He just knows that he's not.
Yep. And Billy has no good answer for that.
Yeah, he just kind of huffs.
So he decides he's gonna, as a 12-year-old. Now, you and I have been to Chicago.
Yes.
Not to the rougher parts of town.
No, but we've been over it. On the train.
As a 12-year-old, Billy Haywood decides to take it upon himself to just take a walk down the mean streets of Chicago.
Okay. Now, like you said, we've been to Chicago, and we were there for the whole weekend.
Yep.
And I would not walk around Chicago, the good parts of Chicago.
The neighborhood we were in, you wouldn't have done it. And we were in a very nice neighborhood.
In a very nice neighborhood.
Yeah.
And it was like 6 blocks down was the bed part. And it was gorgeous, and I would have loved to go down there and take photos, because that's the kind of stuff I like taking photos with.
Urban Decay. Yep.
Yeah. Wasn't going to chance it. We took the train in. We knew nobody in the area.
Yeah.
You know, he's Matt 6.5 feet tall, and he wasn't a good enough bodyguard for me. So,
yeah.
We wouldn't have gone down there.
But yeah, so he just takes it upon himself to just walk around Chicago.
Yeah. Thankfully, it's the middle of the day.
I mean, I guess.
But it's still.
Also, you got to remember, this is also Chicago 1994.
Right, it wasn't 2000.
Versus Chicago today.
Yeah.
So there is a little bit of a difference there.
Right.
But I don't think that much that a 12-year-old. Yeah. But anyway.
Regardless, I don't think a 12-year-old should be walking around a city without his parents.
Right. Yeah. So this is where we get to the turn. The return.
Yes.
We get to one of my favorite pastimes as a child.
Street ball.
Pickup baseball. We didn't play street ball. We had a field.
Okay.
Because I didn't grow up in a city.
Okay.
So we had a baseball field. We had several of them, actually.
But is this considered street ball?
This would be street ball, yes. They don't have a real bat.
Yep.
They're using a tennis ball.
Yep, they're using doormat or floor mats and cushions for the
bases.
They're playing with abandoned cars in the lot.
Off the wall counts.
Yeah, right next to an apartment building with all these windows, and I'm like, they're gonna break a window.
It's tennis ball. They're fine.
Okay.
And so they have a pickup game of baseball.
Yes.
There's 9 kids. They need a 10th. Billy just happens to show up.
Yeah.
A couple of them recognize him.
Yeah.
Hey, aren't you Billy Haywood? And he's like, if I were Billy Haywood, would I be here right now?
Yeah.
And then my favorite part is the one kid pulls out his Billy Haywood baseball card.
Yeah.
Looks at the card, looks at Billy and says,
no.
Not even close. I'm like, are you kidding? He's like, really?
Well, the kid is wearing glasses, so maybe he needs a new prescription.
As a kid who wore glasses, I find that offensive.
I wore glasses, too. I wore glasses until I was 18.
So they play some ball. Billy goes by the name...
Jim Bond.
Jim Bond. And he even says it like he's Bond. He goes, Bond.
Jim Bond.
Jim Bond. Yeah, exactly. But anyway, they
don't care.
Nope.
He's a 10th player, so.
Yep. And so they get to, and we're having fun.
Yes.
And then so after that, they win the game that night. And then they head back home.
Yep. But they went without Lou because Lou didn't play.
Right.
Yeah.
Not yet.
So they're heading back home on the bus.
Yeah, first thing's on the bus.
Yeah.
And, well, they're going to be on the bus to go to the airport because they're immediately going to fly.
Yeah.
and Billy's sitting up front by himself.
Yeah.
After the game, and Lou comes up to him and said, I used to have a manager who said baseball was only worth playing when it's fun. Yeah. I miss that guy. And so then we get home.
Yeah.
Billy is super happy to see Mom.
Yes. Gives her a big old hug and everything.
Yeah. And this is where we get to the, first of all, Lou's playing. So we get to the clubhouse. Yeah. Billy tells Lou, you're playing today, boy. You're playing. Get ready. You're in the game. Yep. Put me in, coach. Oh, by the way, the song for the pickup game of baseball was Put Me in, Coach. I'm ready to play.
Was it?
Classic baseball tune. Okay. So, Put Me in, Coach. I'm ready to play. And then we get a little news announcing that the Twins are still in the wild card race. So the wild card was relatively new at this point.
Okay.
Used to be 3 teams made the playoffs. The 3 divisional winners from the American League and the 3 divisional winners from the National League. Okay. Wildcard had expanded it to 4 teams, which was the 3 divisional winners plus the next highest winningest team. Okay. As a wild card to give you 4 teams. It's expanded even beyond that these days, but this was the expansion to the wild card team. Okay. Which is how the Yankees got into the playoffs in '95 to begin with. Was they were the wild card team. Okay. But they are 4 down with 4 to play to the Mariners, which essentially means that if the Twins lose any one of the next 4 games, or if the Mariners win any of the next 4 games, then the Twins are out. Okay. Because they're 4 down with 4 to play. Right. So they need to win all 4, and the Mariners need to lose all 4 in order to force a play-in game. Okay.
So if the Twins won all the games, and then the Mariners won 1 game.
Wouldn't have mattered. Mariners would have been in. Okay. Because that would have given them 1 more win for the season than the Twins had. Okay. By the Twins winning all 4 and the Mariners losing all 4, that means they end the season with the same record, and therefore they play a play-in game between the 2 of them. 1-game playoff. Okay. Win or go home. Okay. So Billy says that they've got practice today, and then the season starts tomorrow. But he's got 1 new specialty trick play that he wants to give a try. So he's got to teach the team this new play. Yes. And so we don't see what it is yet. No, we don't. But we're getting ready for it because it is going to come into play at the climax of the movie. Yep. So it's going to be fun. And then so we get another winning montage, which is, I believe this one is the song Run Around Sue. Okay. I think so, which is another fun, upbeat song. Okay. My favorite thing that happens, so it's a 4-game set against Cleveland. Yep. So we get Sandy Alomar Jr., for all you baseball fans from this era out there. Sandy Alomar Jr. makes an appearance, catcher for the Cleveland Indians. Okay. And my favorite part of this whole montage, this is the next 4 games. Yep. And they win all 4. My favorite part of this is Bowers and his pump glove.
Yes, I love that. And he's like, wow, this thing really works.
Okay, so back in the day, Reebok had the Reebok pumps that they introduced, the shoes that you could pump up the air inside to make them fit better. About those, yep. And then there was, I forget the I think it was Rawlings, if I'm not mistaken, introduced the pump glove. Right. Similar idea. It cushioned the air around your hand to make it fit better.
And you pumped it with your other hand, just between the thumb and the pointer finger.
Just like Reebok, it had I believe it was the red Rawlings symbol instead of the Reebok basketball was the pump on it. I had this exact same glove, of course, because why not? This glove was amazing.
Now, was this glove actually made of leather, like the other gloves?
Yeah, it's full on real leather. Yeah, okay. It just had an air pocket inside that you could blow up or unblow up. Okay. And so Bowers starts pumping it, and then gets strikes, and then pumps it some more and gets a fly out, and he's all looking at it and looking amazed at the camera, whoa! And so he's pumping it, and it's just so funny. Jonathan Silverman he's one of those most underrated physical comedians in movies because he does such a great job of, without even talking in this scene, just being incredibly comedic and making you laugh. Yeah. He does a great job with it. But at the end of the montage, we're going to have a play-in game.
Yep, because at the end of it, they're all sitting in their team room, locker room, watching the Mariners play.
Yeah, right? So the Mariners play in the West Coast, so therefore their game's going to get over later than the Twins game does because they play in the Central in Minnesota. So they're watching the tail end of the Mariners game. So the Mariners,
Yes.
so the Twins have won all the last 4 games during our montage.
Yep.
The Mariners have lost the first 3.
Yes.
Now we're in a situation where it looks like, from what I can hear from the announcer,
Because it's a TV on our TV.
right? Mariners, it looks like, are down by a run, probably in the bottom of the 9th. They've got at least one guy on, and Dave Magadan is up to bat.
Okay.
And so you can hear the guys are like, Dave, Mags, I know you're a great guy, but right now, die like a dog. And it turns out that Dave Magadan grounds out, ends the game, Mariners lose.
Twins are heading to the next game.
We're going to a play-in game, 1-game playoff. Winner go home, winner goes on to the playoffs, loser goes home to play golf for the winter.
Yep.
So, but before we go to the game, we cut to Chuck and what's his name? Fishing.
Called him Larry.
Yeah, Chuck and Larry fishing.
Yep.
And still not catching any fish.
I think his name's Joey.
I think so too, but either way, whatever. It's
Yeah.
Chuck and whatever.
Yeah.
And Billy shows up.
Yes.
And
At least they're on the right side of the bridge this time.
they are, which is nice. They learn. Maybe they'll catch a fish. Probably not, but
Probably
at least
not.
they have a better chance this way.
Yeah.
Billy shows up, and of course they forgive him.
Yeah, that's what friends do.
Yep, and so they fish on their last off day.
Yes.
And so then we're going to cut right to the final game.
Yep.
And it's Twins, it's Mariners, it's at home for the Twins.
Yeah. And again, I think we're showing it to like the last half, not like the. Well, no, because I lied. I completely.
We start at the very
We start
beginning.
at the very beginning in the locker room. The guys are stressing out. Billy's in his office stressing out, trying to do his math homework.
Yeah, the other guys seem okay, but Billy is stressed out because he's got a math problem to do, and it's a word problem.
Yes.
And he doesn't know how to do it. And he's got to get this math homework done because it needs to be turned in the next day.
Yes.
And so he asks Mac for some help.
Matt can't figure it out.
No. And it's like, if one guy can paint a house
In 5 hours.
and another guy can paint the house in
3 hours.
3 hours, how long does it take them to paint the house together?
Yeah.
And so Mac is of no help. He's like, sometimes I find that if I write a problem down, it's easier to solve. So they go to the whiteboard.
Yep. And now the whole team's there.
And they're all illustrating the house with the 2 guys next to
Yeah.
it, and they're all giving their ideas on what the answer is. Is it
Yes.
3 times 5? Is it 3 plus 5?
Yeah.
Is it 5 minus 3?
Yeah.
Like, who knows? Is it 5 plus 3 divided by 2?
Yeah.
Like, nobody knows the actual answer.
Yeah.
We get the one guy who I love. He goes, I should know this. My uncle's a painter.
That's the same guy that said, the kids in Venezuela are smart because they speak Spanish.
Nope, different guy.
Different guy?
Different guy.
Okay,
that was Mickey Scales.
Okay. I thought it was the same.
Yeah, they're all the kids are smart in Venezuela because they all speak Spanish, and they're like, yeah, that's what they speak down there. And he's like, I know, it's crazy. That ain't an easy language. I was like, by the way, it's a lot easier to learn than English,
Right.
especially American English. But so finally, nobody else can get this.
But Bowers can.
Bowers just walks up like
Yeah.
he owns the place.
It's A times B over A plus B. Or
Right.
something like
Yeah. A times B divided by A plus B.
Yeah.
Which gives us to our answer of 2 7/8 hours.
Yeah.
And then Billy's like, "Are you sure?" I just love Bowers. He's like,
Well, of course.
"Well, of course, my diminutive leader.
Yeah.
Long have I been familiar with the workings, the inner workings of the mathematical world." It's
Yeah.
like, Jesus Christ. And then after solving this problem, he just turns directly to Lou and goes, "The horse's name is Friday."
Not Lou, man.
Or Mac.
Yeah.
Turns to Mac. "The horse's name is Friday," bringing us the answer to the riddle that Mac couldn't solve the entire fucking movie.
Yeah.
Of how the cowboy rode into town on Friday,
Stayed 3 days
and
and
rode
then
out.
left on Friday.
Correct, yeah. And then so with the problem solved, Billy goes, "Well, now that all the hard part's done, let's go win a ball game."
Yeah.
And this is a classic ball game
Okay.
as far as the way it plays out. It's what you want in a win or go home game, right? I mean, there's a lot of drama.
There's
You got
like 12 or 13
innings.
innings. Yeah.
You got close scores.
Yes.
And you've got some incredible talent on display.
Yeah, there's some fierce people on the opposite team.
Oh, you have no idea. There are some very incredible players on the Mariners teams of this era. You're talking Ken Griffey Jr., Randy Johnson,
Now, is
Jay
Randy
Buhner,
Johnson...
the big tall pitcher,
Yeah.
the big unit.
Yeah.
Yep, chicks dig the long ball. It's a commercial from back in the day by Randy Johnson.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, he was deciding he was going to be a hitter instead of just a pitcher. He's like,
Yeah.
why are you being a hitter? He's like, chicks dig the long ball.
He's creepy looking.
Oh man, he is a scary looking dude.
Yeah, and then who was the other player? He's a really good hitter.
Ken Griffey Jr.
Yes.
Yep, Ken Griffey Jr., the kid.
Yes. That's right, 'cause his
As a
dad
Yankees
played,
fan,
right?
his dad played. Yep, Ken Griffey Sr. was a Major League Baseball player as well. As a Yankees fan, Ken Griffey Jr. can die a painful death. Great player, he can die a painful death.
He could be a great person for all you know.
He actually seems like a really good dude.
Okay.
From everything I've ever seen, he just seems like a really happy, cordial kind of guy. So
But he's not nice to you.
it's like the twins in the clubhouse with Magadan. Mags, with all due respect, you're a great guy, but die a painful death.
Right.
So that's Griffey, because Griffey breaks hearts.
Okay.
But yeah, this team had great players in this era. Edgar Martinez, probably the best pure hitter in baseball at that time.
Okay.
Lou Piniella was the manager, former manager for the Yankees. Jay Buhner was on the Mariners. He was a former Yankee. Tino Martinez, not related to Edgar Martinez, was the first baseman for the Mariners, future Yankee. So a lot of great talent on that team at this point. Luis Sojo, future Yankee.
Lots of future Yanks.
Yes. So the Mariner teams back in this era were good. 2005 or 95 would be the first time they ever went to the playoffs in 17 years.
Okay.
They were essentially the Mariners of this era were actually kind of what they were modeling the Cleveland Indians off of in Major League. You know, where like the owner wanted to sell the team and move it to a different city, that sort of thing. That was what the Mariners were going through at this time, because in 95, had they not made the playoffs, they probably would have been moved to Miami.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So similar to the Indians in Major League.
Okay.
But, yeah, so the first thing we get for the game is Billy goes to meet his friends. He brings them candy bars.
Yes.
But it's not a Clark bar. He brings them Baby Ruths, but not a Clark bar. Somehow...
They're all out of Clark bars.
Somehow the entirety of this stadium on playoff night is out of Clark bars.
Yeah. Especially for the owner who can't...
Yeah, I don't buy it.
Yeah.
I don't buy it. But anyway, they're out of Clark bars. And then his friend tells him, not Chuck, but the other kid tells him that he should start Wedman.
Which is what he's been telling him the whole
Every game. Yeah, you should start Wedman every game, apparently.
Yeah.
Billy says, I thought you might say that. And so he does start Wedman.
Who is a...
He's a starter, but he's a underused younger starter.
Is he a pitcher?
He's a pitcher. Starting pitcher, yeah. Okay. Starting pitcher. So McGreevy's not starting this game. Wedman is.
Okay.
And he does a good job holding him down. I believe it's till the 7th inning.
Yep.
When Ken Griffey Jr. gets like a 2-run homer off of him.
Yep.
Because he's Ken Griffey Jr. and that's what he does. He breaks hearts.
Yes.
Yes. But we get to the point where the Twins tie it up.
3-3.
Yeah, so we're up with 3-3. And then Griffey's up again.
Yep.
Nobody's on. And Bowers walks him.
Yep.
And then he tells Lou he's going to be stealing second. He's going to be stealing third. Probably going to steal home too. What the fuck? Why not?
Yeah.
And Lou's like, hey, you got to do what you got to do, Junior.
Yeah. Whatever. Do you think?
Yep. And so this is where tragedy strikes for the Twins. So Bowers goes to pick off Griffey, and the ball gets by Lou. Down the sideline, into the bullpen, under the bench.
Yep.
So Lou's got to go in there and try to find this ball, get it out. And Griffey just takes off running for second.
Yes.
And as they're looking for the ball and Griffey's running, Bowers just turns and throws the ball to second base, and they tag out Griffey. So it was the old fake pickoff move to first, which, by the way, is a balk. This play isn't actually legal.
No.
When you make a maneuver like that, you actually have to throw the ball.
Yeah.
Or else it's a balk and any runners get a base automatically. So technically this play is most likely would be called a balk.
Okay.
And Griffey would just get second base anyway. Right. But for for the point of the movie, it's the old hidden ball play.
Yeah. So they had made the signal. Everyone knew what was happening, and the security guard was involved in this one.
Yeah, everybody's involved. And they got the jiggly hats. Like everybody's got like a jiggly hat move to let everybody know they're doing this crazy, insane play.
Yeah.
Including, yes, the magic black man of the movie, the security guard, who is the key. Because I remember when Billy told him about the play, he's like, and you're going to be crucial to the play. And so, so he pretends
that he saw the ball come his way. Right, and he picks up his chair and he can't find it.
Yeah, and getting up out of the way so the players can look for it. Yeah. Everybody has to sell it like they're really looking for this ball.
Yeah. So, like, the outfielders are over there looking. And
all the pitchers that are still in the bullpen are looking and everything. And Griffey's just out. And he's pissed. And Lou Pinella's like, the fuck was that? Which, if I were in Lou Pinella's place, I'd be doing the same thing. The fuck was that?
And then... Who is it, McGreevy or the other guy? Cheers Bowers.
Yeah.
He says, "Oh, I love that guy," and he gets punched by the other.
Yeah, it was McGreevy.
Yeah.
And he gives a bow.
Yeah.
Yep. No, so good. So good. So that maintains the tie ball game. And we head to, I believe it's the 11th.
Yes.
And if I'm not mistaken,
11th or 12th.
It's Blackout's in now, if I'm not mistaken. Or anyway, whoever it is in, gives up a solo home run to Griffey.
Yeah.
So top of the 11th or 12th or whatever it is, and the Mariners take a 1-run lead.
Yep.
So we head to the bottom of the 9th. Well, so no, it's a 1-run lead.
It's not the bottom of the 9th, though.
Well, bottom of whatever the last inning of the game happens to be.
Yeah.
And the guy who had the third baseman who had botched a play earlier in the game.
Yeah.
By letting the ball go through his legs.
Yeah.
Billy Buckner that shit. He's up to bat.
Yes,
Needing a man on base.
Yes.
And so Billy tells him the story about some World Series back in the day where the guy who had botched the play in the top of the inning and let a run score ended up becoming the hero of the game in the bottom half of the inning by hitting the game-winning double.
Yes.
And so the guy's gets super excited. He's like, okay, I can fucking do this. All right, let's do it. And Mac goes to Billy, he's like,
Billy, that didn't happen.
Ball through the legs ended the game. Like, nobody hit, nothing. He's like, I know that. You know that. He don't know that. And the guy comes through.
The ball bounced off a pebble.
No, well, in the World Series game, it bounced off a pebble. In this one, it bounced off the edge of the turf and the dirt.
Oh, okay.
Because it's AstroTurf. It's not like grass.
Oh, okay.
So it hit that little lip of the carpet and just kicked to the side a little bit. So he missed it. And so the guy does come through and gets a double, so he gets on base. So we got a situation now where the tying run is on second.
Yeah.
And Lou is up to bat.
Yes.
Before Lou goes up to hit, he decides he's going to throw a little bit more on Billy's plate.
Yeah, because, that's exactly what this kid needs right now.
Yeah, like this can't wait till after the game.
Yeah.
But anyway, he goes up to Billy. He's like, hey, have you seen your mom? He's like, no, why? He's like, you should talk to her. I just proposed.
Yeah, I just asked her to marry me.
Yeah. And Billy's like, get a home run, you can marry my mom.
Yeah.
Right, because home run would win the game.
Well, what did my mom say? And he's like, she said to ask you.
Right. Which, I mean...
No pressure.
Makes sense, right? Because, traditionally you would ask the father.
Well, I think it's because, they're in the middle of the game and he's his manager.
Well, not just that, but, traditionally somebody, you always ask the male of the family.
Yeah.
And so for their family, Billy is the man of the family.
Yes.
So it makes sense that she would say that. And... Billy says, hit a home run, you can marry my mom.
Yeah.
And then as he's walking up, Billy stops him 3 times.
Yeah.
As he's walking up to bat. The bottom of the 9th, biggest situation of the... Or bottom of the whatever. I'm going to say 9th because it's the last inning. But bottom of the whatever, down to the last out of the season. Biggest situation of the season. And Billy keeps stopping him about this thing. And finally says, you can marry my mom even if you don't hit a home run. It's okay. And Lou's like... Okay, are we good now?
Yeah,
let me go up to hit.
Well, Lou's acting like it's Billy's fault when it's Lou's fault.
Right.
We should have waited until afterwards.
Right, exactly. So. So Lou works the count a little bit, and then he gets a hold of one.
Yes.
And he gives this
It
one.
looks really good.
Well, they play it up to it. You got like the dramatic music, and you got the cut to Lou looking at the shot. You got the cut to the pitcher looking like, oh no. And then we cut to Griffey in the outfield, and he's on his horse and he's running. And we cut back to Lou, and then back to Griffey, and back to Lou, and back to Griffey. And then what do we get? What do we end up with?
They catch the ball.
Griffey pulls the Ken Griffey Jr., leaps into the stands, and robs the game-winning home run. Game over.
Would it have been game-winning if...
Man on. They were down by one.
Yeah.
They were down by one. They had a man on.
So
2-run home run wins the game. Ground rule double ties the game. And we go into another inning.
Yeah.
But Griffey robs the home run.
Yeah.
As Griffey did to a lot of players in a lot of games over his career. In reality.
He can jump.
Yeah, that boy can jump. He got some serious ups and some serious speed. Arguably one of the best center fielders ever. Probably the reason Bernie Williams is not in the Hall of Fame is because they look for players who are the best in who dominate their position, and Bernie happened to be there at the same time as Ken Griffey Jr. Arguably, Bernie has better batting numbers for a 6 to 10 year stretch than anybody in the league.
Right.
But Griffey was so dominant in the field.
Right.
Gold glove after gold glove after gold glove, all-star after all-star after all-star, that it just overshadowed Bernie to the point where he gets no love, unfortunately, for all you Bernie Williams fans out there. So, yeah, game over, season over. We have to head into the clubhouse for the post game.
Everyone's upset.
Everybody's a little bummed, and they get really even more bummed because Billy announces that he's retiring.
Yes. That
Mac is going to take over as the manager, and that Jerry is coming back as the hitting coach.
Good. I'm glad I'm glad they agreed to let Jerry come back.
Oh, of course he was gonna, you know, because I mean, Jerry's his favorite player, and he likes Jerry as a person.
Yeah.
So great choice on bringing Jerry back as the hitting coach. The Yankees did this with Mattingly after he retired. They brought him back as a hitting coach a couple times. So, but yeah. So good on Billy for doing that.
Yeah.
And then, as everybody's kind of like bummed, the person who's most bummed is Bowers.
Yes.
You're the only manager I've ever had who understood the intricacies of the water balloon. Oh, and then the security guard interrupts.
Yeah.
Mr. Haywood, you have to come out. They're still here.
Who? Everybody.
All of them. They're all still here. And he walks out, and the whole crowd, all probably 50,000, are there just cheering Billy, refusing to leave. So then we flash end the movie on a freeze frame of Billy tipping his cap to the entire crowd.
Yep.
At the Metrodome.
Yep.
And that's where we end.
It's a good ending.
Good stuff.
Yep.
I love this movie.
It's a really good.
I know so many. It never gets its due, I think, on lists of best baseball movies.
Right.
I would seriously argue that this belongs in discussion of like top 3 baseball movies ever.
Okay.
Just because, right? I mean, because when I think about baseball, I think about fun.
Right.
There's a lot of really dramatic baseball movies.
Right.
And there's a lot of fun baseball movies.
Right.
This one is just so much fun, especially if you remember it from your childhood and you were around this age when it came out. It's just such a fun concept and such a good time to watch it.
Yeah.
It's hard for me not to say, and maybe it's just because of nostalgia, but it's hard for me not to put it in, the top 3 or 4 baseball movies of all time.
Well, I haven't seen enough baseball movies to compare it to, but
you
I
will
really like this.
Yeah, this was a good one. Yeah, I could easily make an argument for this being in the top 3.
Okay.
Baseball movies, when you judge it on a whole bunch of criteria, fun, excitement, energy, appealing to youth, because I mean that's the appeal of baseball, is appealing to youth and childhood and playing with the boys and things like that. So, and this movie has all that,
right,
and more. I mean, as far as like a childhood baseball movie, I mean this is up there with The Sandlot.
Yeah.
As far as that much fun, so. But, so that is the ending of Little Big League.
Yes, it is.
Long episode. I think it was well worth it, though.
Yeah.
Great movie. We have decided that the next movie is going to be Space Jam?
Yes.
All right, next movie will be Space Jam, so this is technically going to be I made Matt watch a sports movie episode, which means Alicia will be leading the discussion.
I will be leading
the discussion of Space Jam, since she's making, because I've never seen this one before, and this is one of her faves.
Yes.
So she will be making me watch Space Jam.
Yep.
which is hard to believe that I haven't seen it in my entire life. But I haven't. I was just old enough, right? I was in like high school.
To where it didn't matter.
Right. It was just a little bit too young for me. Because it was Disney, or it was
Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers characters. And I'd grown out of Warner Brothers characters by that point.
Love Warner Brothers
and there were real
characters.
baseball movies to watch, right? There was Hoosiers, and there was Blue Chips, and other great real basketball movies to watch at that time, so I never watched Space Jam.
Yeah.
But I will officially, as of next Thursday, have seen Space Jam.
Yes.
And we'll be here to talk about it.
Yep.
So in this case, she's going to have to bribe me with a Mountain Dew.
I'm sure.
And some gummy bears.
I'm sure I can find some.
And we'll do Space Jam.
Yeah.
And we'll figure out what we're gonna do after that, going forward. I want to see if I can find something that'll get us away from the standard sports for a movie.
Like Cool Runnings.
I'm leaning towards Cool Runnings. There's a couple other options I've got. Cool Runnings is definitely one of them. American Flyers is another option. It's a bike racing movie.
Okay.
So we'll see what we do. I want to get away from like the 4 standard sports though.
Okay.
For the movie after Space Jam.
Yeah.
And then we'll get into something. Cool Running sounds like it could be fun. I remember that movie when I was a kid. It was a great movie. It was such a good time.
Yeah, I love it.
And you know, it's available even in like modern pop culture. When you look at like what is it, Epic Rap Battles of History, when they do Mr. Rogers versus Mr. T, and Mr. Rogers threatens to cut Mr. T into 4 black dudes and remake Cool Runnings. So it even still survives in pop culture today.
Yes, it does.
So that's definitely coming. Whether it's the one after Space Jam or not 100% certain yet. We'll announce that during Space Jam, but it's definitely coming because it needs to be on the show because it's a great movie.
Yes, it is.
So until next Thursday, we'll catch you guys later. For all the information you need, you can hit us up at our website, sportsmoviepod.com. Or you can reach out to us on Twitter with questions, comments, concerns regarding the movies that we do, or answer our poll that we put up on our Twitter, and that's at SportsMoviePod.
Okay.
So until next Thursday, talk to you guys later. Bye.
Bye.